lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide a lifeline to breast and gynecologic cancer patients in our community. Join us at Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle for an afternoon of hope and inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th at nwhopeandhealing.org. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, congratulations to Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs. He just reached an agreement with the Bucs on a 5-year, $140.6 million contract extension, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. That makes him the highest-paid offensive lineman in NFL history. It includes $88.2 million in guaranteed money, also the most ever for an offensive tackle in the league. The Mariners dropped their series finale to the Red Sox yesterday in extras. Let's scrap that series. Next up, a tough one against the Phillies.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. The Mariners have an upcoming series against the Phillies. It's going to be very interesting. We're previewing that one at 11:45. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. You've got an interesting stat for that series. Before we get to it, though, we got to just very quickly talk about what happened yesterday. Now, technically, Curtis, what happened yesterday was that the Seattle Mariners dropped their series to the Boston Red Sox. They lost in that matinee series finale. It was a bummer. A really frustrating game. Lots of runners stranded on base, including a base-loaded situation in the top of the 10th. Now, Red Sox end up coming in and walking it off. Congratulations to them, I guess. I mean, it was really frustrating as a Mariners fan. A peak part of that frustration, Mitch Garver, who was the last batter up in that top of the 10th situation, left runners stranded. He left a total of, what was it, Curtis, 8 runners stranded over the course of this game? So I get it. It's frustrating. In fact, I actually texted, full disclosure, you and Bump during this game, and I was like, I just rolled my eyes. Like, this is so frustrating. What a frustrating moment. It's just not been Garver's year. So after the game was the real story to come from it. Mitch Garver talking with reporters, a very emotional Mitch Garver telling Daniel Kramer, Ryan Divish, among others, quote, "This is by far the worst I've ever played in my career. It's tough on myself, tough on my family. The death threats, the retire, you suck, kill yourself, all that stuff. It's getting old, but the only way it changes is to play better." He said, "I've accepted the fact that I'm not going to hit above 200 this year. I don't know. It might not get any better. Who knows? Maybe it just gets worse. I don't know. But I show up to the field every day prepared to play and prepared to get better and work." And Curtis, that is actually the story everyone was talking about after this one. Not, in fact, him leaving runners stranded, not the Mariners dropping this one or anything to do with the team as a whole.
Yeah, it was what we talked about on the postgame show, too, Ryan Rowland-Smith and myself. Because when you see those kinds of words written out and knowing that they came from somebody, and it's words that obviously are going to cut through. And I think it's a perspective that a lot of us sports fans need to hear because, yes, athletes make a lot of money. And as I think a lot of us who don't make that money think, oh, that can be
fixed with money.
Yeah, that can be fixed with money. That can be the medicine to ail any bad day. But no, Mitch Garver signed a $24 million contract this offseason for 2 years, and it has not gone well for him at all this season. But to threaten his life, to tell him to kill himself, to tell him all sorts of horrible, nasty things, all because of a game. And I know Ryan Divish mentioned that a lot of players get these kinds of messages from gamblers who may have bet money on the game and whatnot, and are trying to take their anger out on these athletes who have nothing to do with what money you wager on a game or whatnot. I don't know if that's where these messages came from Mitch Garver, but no one should be on the receiving end of stuff like this. And especially a guy like Mitch Garver, who at least shows up every day. He has not spent any time on the injured list this season. By all accounts, is a great guy in that clubhouse. It has not gone his way with the bat this season, but it is unfathomable for myself to send something like that to anybody. Yeah. I don't know how anybody can see what happened with Mitch Garver and be like, you know what? Oh, well, too bad.
Yes, and I truly felt silly making the point that we send our show emails, and last night I was thinking, like, you shouldn't send death threats to someone, and I felt stupid writing that out because it's like, well, obvious, it's not a take, it's not an opinion, it's just fact. Like, right. You should not, everyone knows this. It's like saying don't punch someone in the face who didn't do anything. Like, you just shouldn't do things that are cruel and unnecessary and mean for no reason. That's just a fact. The vast majority of people who aren't losers understand that. But instead, what I was thinking is that athletes are largely unrelatable to the majority of people. I'm going to use an NFL example. If you're out here, I'm live from VMAC, and you're a player who's maybe not going to make this team, you are still in the 99th percentile of like athleticism. You are still the best at your job. You were the best kid from your hometown, the best kid from your high school. You were one of the top recruits. You went to your college. You were so good on your college team that an NFL team was like, we'll pay you to come in and work out for us, and we'll see if we can find a spot for you. Those guys get called bums every other day by random fans that just kind of dismiss them. So the level of excellence that you have to have with your job and have to have as an athlete to even just touch a professional league is obscene. Right. And Mitch Garver falls into that category. Mitch Garver's worst year has gone beyond what the vast majority of people to ever try to make it to the league have done. That's entirely unrelatable. Like, I cannot relate to making millions of dollars. I cannot relate to being that good at something. I cannot relate to being famous, like all of these things. But you know what is entirely relatable? Messing up. Like that feeling of you're driving to work and you're 15 minutes late, so you have this feeling in the pit of your stomach of like, oh, I messed up. People are going to be upset with me. Now I'm running late. Now I'm already messing up. I'm starting the day poorly. That's how he feels all the time. He enters a game knowing that he's hitting below 200, that people are waiting for him to do something, and he can't, make it better automatically. And the difference is he's doing that in front of millions of people and in front of everyone. And in that moment, you kind of think, wow, like, the most relatable thing possible is also the most heartbreaking. Right. And it's devastating that goes through that. And this is separate from critiques, right?
Exactly.
Like you and I have both seen people, oh, that's mean of you to say when you're talking about, like, Mitch Garver knows he's struggling this year. It's not mean to say that.
No. It's factual. It's pointing it out. I pointed out yesterday, how many runners he had left on base, and that's, obviously critical of his approach to the plate yesterday, but it's not a personal shot at the guy. It's not like, hey, you are a joke of a player or anything like that. No, it's like, man, he has had a really rough day today, and it's kind of cost the Mariners, especially in those situations where they had runners in scoring position as many times as they did yesterday. But it should never cross that line. Like, there is a give and take relationship with athletes and fans where you can be critical of athletes. Yes, you can be critical of their performance. But the second you cross that line, I don't think you should, it stinks that we're having these conversations because you never want to think of people like this in your own fan base. You never want to think of people like this existing, wearing Mariners hats and wearing Mariners jerseys and whatnot, because it is a bad reflection on those of us who don't do that. And now, there are other people across Major League Baseball who see this and be like, oh, well, if one Mariners fan is like this, all Mariners fans are like this. Like, no, actually, Mariners fans are a great people. They're not like this for the majority of people. Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you what.
One playoff appearance in 2 decades? Yeah.
That'll do it to you. Yeah, exactly. One playoff appearance where you still haven't seen a playoff win at home, and you're like, man, first place is cool. This feels nice. No, it's, again, like, I think it's funny. Yesterday the other day we were talking about Randy Arozarena being at Tropicana Field watching a Rays game on Friday with his family after he found out he'd been traded and his wife was crying. And both Bump and I were like, God, that's so stressful. Like, you have a kid. Like, imagine if you're her. I know that your husband, has this opportunity to go play for a team that's trying to get to the playoffs. No one's complaining about playing more baseball, but like, that's still really stressful. You're picking up your family. You're moving on the other side of the country. Not only that, but you're moving away from a state where there's a huge population of Cuban people to going to a state where there's not. So if that's your community there, and I don't know if it is, but let's say it is, that suddenly changes. And you have to adapt to a big culture change as well. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that comes with it. And I saw so many texts that were like, well, I don't care. Millions of dollars would make that easy. I do think money and fame acts as this, like, empathy wall for us sometimes. And I don't know. I think we can challenge that a little bit better. Again, I'll criticize Mitch Garver, and I'll criticize players, and I'll make fun of players. I have made fun of what I feel is Aaron Rodgers' hypocrisy before.
Yes.
And there are times when I will get personal with it, and like, I realize that I'm getting personal with it, but that would be an example. Like, I've definitely gotten personal about Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre or whatever, like jokes that I've made during headline rewrites or what have you. But again, there's a line that you draw. And I will push back against anyone who thinks like criticism is somehow cruel. But death threats, making it personal, making it consume your life, like, at the end of the day, it's a sport, and I don't think that someone needs to be exactly like you and live exactly your life for you to empathize with what they're going through.
Right. And like you pointed out earlier, his worst days at work are being played out in front of thousands of people every night. Like, just think about the worst days at work I'm not saying that we have the same audience that the Mariners do, but
I don't know, Curtis,
we have
speak
a
for
very,
yourself.
Yeah, okay. Well, we do have very forward-facing jobs, and if we do have a bad day, it's out there in the public. But let's say you have a bad day crunching numbers in your office job, and you know what? The only people who are going to know that you've had a bad day at work are probably yourself, maybe a few coworkers, and the people who you go home to. That's it. But Mitch Garver, if he has a bad day at work, everybody's going to know about it. Everybody in this town is going to be talking about it the next day. Everybody's going to be dissecting it, critiquing it, what have you. Like, that is a big difference in his bad days at work compared to, Steve in the car right now on 405. Like, his bad days are not the bad days that Mitch Garver has, and you have to, like, yes, he knows he has to wear this. Like that second quote from him that Daniel Kramer got, I've already accepted the fact that I'm not going to hit above 200 this year. I don't know. It might not get any better. Who knows? Maybe it just gets worse. I don't know. But I show up on the field every day prepared to play and prepared to get better and work. Mitch Garver has not spent any time on the injured list, which was the biggest concern about him heading into this season. He has taken on a role that the Mariners had not planned on him having this season in being the backup catcher. So you add that on to moving to a new city, playing in a ballpark that he has already had tremendous struggles in prior to this season. I think he had gone, 0 for like 33 or something at T-Mobile Park in his career before signing with the Mariners this offseason. So everything just kind of multiplying on his back right now, and I can see why he reached his breaking point yesterday and being like, I have put up with a lot this season, and for some fans out there to have the responses that they've had with me, it's unfair. Now, it is fair to criticize, his clutch hitting or lack thereof yesterday, but
no one's saying you can't be. Someone said, I don't know what you're talking about, but I hope you're not saying we can't expect better than 170 out of a $24 million DH. No, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
At all. In any way. What we're saying is don't send death threats.
Yeah, that's the whole crux of this conversation is don't be a loser and send death threats to players, especially ones that are going through it right now. Like you giving them that on top of the struggles that they're already going through, it's not helping. It's not helping at all. So Mitch Garver, I hope that this is maybe a turning point in his season. We've got 2 months to go in this season. He's not going anywhere, I'll tell you that. They need a backup catcher in the worst way. They tried it out with Sebi Zavala earlier this season. Sebi did not have much production at the plate, so they sent him to AAA. Mitch Garver is going to be that guy behind Cal Raleigh this season, whether you like it or not. He's not going anywhere. Scott Service had this to say after the game yesterday about Garver and just kind of all that he's gone through.
Garver's been, he's been going through a lot of things, trying to, figure some things out at the plate, get his swing going again. I thought he had a stretch here, 3-4 weeks ago where it looked like it was going to turn, and it's been a struggle for him lately. And also, I think he did a great job behind the plate today, certainly with George and all the relievers that came in. So many decisions come up in that game, so you give him a ton of credit for there. But this guy's a proven hitter in the league. He's going through it right now. He feels it. He wants to contribute. It's not for lack of effort or trying anything like that. It's just not going his way at all.
Yeah, it didn't go his way at all yesterday. And I always find it funny when we look back at a game and maybe there's one or two plays that kind of tell the story of the game, but also like there were 8 other Mariners in the lineup that could have gotten big hits in those situations. It stinks that it came down to Mitch Garver every single time yesterday. That's just kind of how the order worked out. But unfortunately, he had a really bad day, and it just kind of compounded with all the messages he got.
I know. It's just, it feels silly to even be doing a segment where you say, hey, don't do horrible things. But I guess I was just thinking of it's interesting how sometimes just the most relatable moments are moments where you go, oh God, now I feel bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel bad about being critical about Mariners decision makers and their offseason additions or lack thereof. I'll stand on that. I've been critical of that before. But yeah, guys, it's sports at the end of the day. So I hope for his sake that he's able to write this. I was a little struck by what feels like a serious kind of, not lack of confidence, but like an emotional wall that he's hit. Saying it might not get any better, who knows, maybe it just gets worse, tells me that's where you're just going out there and you're going, this is horrible. I feel horrible. So I would hope that, I don't know, maybe an off day, maybe something to kind of take a mental break. I have no idea, but could really use a good day for him. We have some stuff about Ryan Grubb's offense that we're learning coming up at 10:30. Curtis has an interesting stat ahead of this series against the Phillies coming up at 10:45. Right now, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
The Bears and Texans fourth stringers play tonight in the Hall of Fame game. What's the real headline?
And if you're watching, you have a football addiction.
That's right.
You have a
You're
problem.
a sicko.
Yeah.
Sicko.
Truly. What was it, Albert Breer? Someone was on with Rock and Salk the other day, and I was listening as I was driving in, and they were like, I mean, football. Oh, no, it was with Wyman and Bob. And it wasn't Albert Breer, but I'm blanking. And he said, I mean, football starts later this week. You got the Hall of Fame game. And I thought, what a loser.
There's so many other things to do with your night tonight. Now, if you are a football sicko, go right ahead and watch, sure. But no one you see out on the field tonight is going to be anybody that you know. You are not going to know a single name on the field between the Bears and Texans. Now, if the Bears and Texans met in the regular season on a Monday night, I'd be there. I'd be watching that. Caleb Williams against C.J. Stroud, absolutely. But tonight, no thank you. You have much better things to do with your life. Go touch grass.
Headline rewrites.
Go touch grass.
Katie Ledecky tied the all-time record for most Olympic medals won by a woman with her gold in the 1,500-meter freestyle. What's the real headline?
There's something special about a country with the highest rates of obesity dominating in sports. Get you a country that can do both.
That's right. Versatile.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
flexible. We can
Look,
do it
we
all.
can eat a lot of saturated fat and French fries and pizza, and we will still get gold in the Olympics.
Yeah, our turns are incredible in the pool.
Yep.
What's nuts is that she owns the 20 best times in that race. Like, no one is even close. I saw a tweet last night, Stacey, that said there's got to be no more deflating feeling for an Olympian seeing Katie Ledecky going the opposite direction of you in the pool, because that's how far ahead she is of you. Like, you're swimming to one end of the pool, she's swimming to the other because she's like 30 seconds up on you. It's insane. Like,
truly
how does one athlete dominate this one race this much? It's not even close.
I was thinking about that when I was watching. This was the team section for women's gymnastics. Simone Biles takes to the floor for her floor routine, which is her best routine, and you're just thinking like, well, I guess I can hope for silver at the best. Like, you just know when this athlete goes, whether it's Serena at her peak, whether it was any team with Michael Phelps, you know what I mean? Like, you're just not going to win. It's just not in the cards for you. And I would hate to constantly be paired up with someone so dominant. Like, it's as a fan, as a viewer, as just a fan of sports, when I watch, I go, wow. But if I was trying to chase gold and I saw Simone Biles doing her routine, I'd be like, God, can you just take a year off?
Just let us have one.
Come on, Simone, let me have one.
Headline rewrites.
Team USA men's basketball got revenge on South Sudan with a 103-86 victory. What's the real headline?
Nothing like sticking it to the team from the youngest country in the world.
That's right.
Show those kids who's boss.
Absolutely.
South Sudan's been a really, really cool story, though.
They have, and they've been a tough out for Team USA.
Beat Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and then they pushed USA to the limit, really, in the exhibitions prior to the Olympics. But Team USA getting the victory. I think Jason Tatum actually played this time. Wow. Bam Adebayo with a really good game off the bench. He had, I think, 18 points for Team USA. I think prior to the game, Team USA was kind of wondering how they would handle their rotations because they just have so much talent. Brian Windhorst tweeted something like, yeah, I could see Bam Adebayo kind of being the odd guy out. And then Bam Adebayo like tweeted back at him like, how do you like that, you know?
Yeah.
Great stuff for Team USA. I still think they are the heavy gold medal favorites.
Yes.
And they kind of have taken their game up a notch now that these games start to count.
Yeah, it's I agree with Bump has been talking about this a lot. He and you are huge basketball fans, and obviously the international presence is growing and growing, and you see European stars, Eastern European stars really taking hold in today's game. It still doesn't mean that the U.S. team is falling behind in terms of their overall dominance. So it's very cool to watch the sport take off and watch incredible athletes, whether it's Wemby, like whoever it is, coming from across the world, it's still Team USA. At the end of the day, the biggest, I don't want to say the biggest stars. You've got LeBron, you've got Steph, you've got amazing stars, but you have stars that are representing France, other countries. But it's going to be tough for anyone at all to touch them.
Yeah, there's really no equivalent either in any other sport when Team USA basketball gets together for the Olympics. Like, you'd hardly ever see it in baseball. Even with the World Baseball Classic, like, not every great American player plays for Team USA. Like, you don't have Aaron Judge out there. But for whatever reason, Team USA basketball, ever since they lost the gold in Athens, they've just been like, all right, we're not messing around anymore. Yeah. We have to get gold. Like, this is a horrible reflection on the NBA if we don't get this. So shout out to them. It looks like they should be rolling into the knockout round.
You're listening to Bump and Stacey on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in today for Michael Bumpus. What we're hearing about Ryan Grubb's offense. Some interesting stuff about the run game. That's coming up next.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Seattle Sports will be at Seahawks headquarters, taking you onto the field with the team. Interviews, analysis, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage as Gino and the Hawks get ready for the 2024 season.
Ball pick up. Witherspoon comes near side. He is in. Witherspoon with the interception for a touchdown.
Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
The 2024 Seahawks season is almost here. Get fitted for game days with jerseys, caps, and tees, including the 2024 training camp collection. Visit the Seahawks Pro Shop at the Landing in Renton and Lumen Field or online at Seahawks.com/Pro Shop.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Let's talk about the true cost of a DUI. The humiliation, heartache, and fear are only the beginning. A DUI is a gross misdemeanor with serious consequences, like jail time, fines, and license suspensions. There's some bitter surprises, too. DUI hinders employment, other legal matters, and even custody outcomes. Don't even get me started on insurance premiums or being turned away at the border. You need the true value of our top-rated lawyers. We're fighting for you. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com. The real cost of a DUI conviction is like a cell phone bill. There's a lot tacked on. Fortunately, your investment in 1-800-DUI-AWAY can pay for itself many times over.
1-800-DUI-AWAY!
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. So let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
High five! Up top! Heck yeah!
Dave's company just got the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business.
Yeah, 5 years!
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
High five for gig speed.
5 years of advanced security.
Security win.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Our rate ain't changing.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
There it is.
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread.
Woohoo!
Now he's got savings.
I'm so excited.
Yep, Dave's feeling it. But it's only for a limited time, so don't wait. Switch today and ask how to get the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Powering 5 years of savings. Powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
Woo! Ends 8/21/24. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
To me, stress-free means I don't have to worry. Everything will turn out great with little or no effort. That's exactly why more people choose Subaru Puyallup. Brock here. Look no further than Subaru Puyallup for the very best. Stress-free, huge selection, pricing, and ownership experience. Stop by, or if you know what Subaru you want, choose Subaru Puyallup's stress-free direct online car buying right there at SubaruPuyallup.com. Part of the great Harnish Auto family. It's my friends down at Subaru Puyallup, your stress-free dealership.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman speaking to those who have recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer. I spoke with Dr. Meyer, the medical director of the Swedish Radiosurgery Center, and Dr. Meyer said Swedish CyberKnife patients are really satisfied with their experience. They report very few side effects, and they're seeing excellent cancer control 10 years later. To learn more about CyberKnife for prostate cancer, go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate or call 206-320-7187. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
Hi, I'm Stuart Holmes, Elections Director for Washington State. Free, fair, and secure elections are the backbone of our democracy. No matter what's on the ballot, election officials work tirelessly to ensure every eligible voter's voice is heard. Regular integrity checks against federal and state databases ensure Washington's voter roll is clean and accurate. Check your voter registration at votelaw.gov.
Sponsored by the Office of Secretary of State and aired in cooperation with the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We are learning a ton about new offensive coordinator Ryan Grub and what his new offense could look like. Now, we've talked with a couple guys. We've also heard from guys at press conferences, Charles Cross, Gino Smith, Tyler Lockett, and one defensive player who had some good stuff to say about what he's seen from Gino. So let's go ahead and get to it. We'll go ahead and start with cut number 13. This is what Charles Cross had to say about Grub's offense.
I feel like the scheme is very explosive. You can just see it from the time he was at UW, and I feel like it's a great scheme. I feel like it has the it can be a very explosive offense. You know, getting a lot of first downs and scoring a lot of touchdowns. And I'm very excited to put that to life.
Now, Curtis Rogers, and for Michael Bumpus today, when I hear a player say, yeah, the offense is going to be great, explosive, we're going to get a lot of first downs and score a lot of touchdowns, I think that's probably what every offensive player around the league is saying. Just, guys, I promise we will score points, and that's what I can tell you about it. However, while you can kind of, joke about, what every offense would like to sound like, that's genuinely what Grub did exceptionally well with Washington.
It did, and I kind of wonder what Charles Cross is thinking about in this offense, because if you remember, coming from Mississippi State, a very pass-heavy offense, one with, the air raid offense, I wonder if he's kind of looking at Grub's offense, which had so many explosive plays, and the pass game was such an important piece of it. I wonder if he's kind of like, all right, I'm kind of back where I'm comfortable at, because as we know, Pete Carroll was much more of a run-heavy coach. That is how he wanted to dictate things offensively, was through the run game. And Charles Cross, in his first 2 seasons, had a good rookie season last year. Kind of up and down, especially dealing with the injuries that he dealt with early on in the season. I wonder if Cross is feeling more comfortable right now in Grub's offense compared to anything that Pete had with Shane Waldron.
Oh, it's very. I could see that for guys. Stone Forsythe isn't a starter, but another guy that came from a pass-heavy offense. Like, I could see guys who have more recently been in college going, man, this is a little more what we've done, which is so funny because what we're worried about as NFL reporters is, well, can you translate what you did in college to the pros? Like, suddenly you're not playing, a bad defense. Every single week you're facing some of the best defenders in the world, right? You are not going to have a cakewalk against even the worst team, because even the worst team is going to have first-round picks on defense.
Yeah, you're not going up against a defensive lineman that is going to be working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car following his graduation from college.
Instead, you are going against a couple Pro Bowlers, or you're going against guys that know what they're doing. So it's a volatile kind of thing where, like, I really can't tell which direction it's going to go. But I felt encouraged by Bump pointing out that while Shane Waldron was with an NFL team and then came to Seattle as a former pass game coordinator, Grub has been an offensive coordinator for longer. So he's been able to learn to adapt. And yes, that's been at the collegiate level. And yes, that hasn't been with some big SEC schools. There is still valuable knowledge that comes with that. Let's go listen to a couple other cuts here. Let's take a listen to, speaking of passing opportunities, cut 15. Here's what Gino had to say.
I think, it's always been, available. I just think there's a different way that we're doing things. And I think with Grub and his system, obviously, like, he's proven that, he can, stretch the field, or he can, if you got to, throw short or underneath, it's there too. So the best thing that he does, he gives us options. He gives us, like I said, answers, and it's up to us to find, where the ball should go based on what the defense does.
Cannot, again, wait to see what this looks like. But the best weapons this team has on offense is its wide receivers.
Yes.
You need to take advantage of those weapons.
Absolutely. And you've got three guys who all have, I think, Pro Bowl potential this season for sure. DK, Tyler, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, you could not ask for a better set of weapons to start out with your first ever NFL offense than what Ryan Grubb is working with. I mean, if I were a first-time offensive coordinator in the NFL and you told me, all right, so your quarterback is one of the most accurate passers in the league, and he's got a monster 6'3", 6'4" guy in DK Metcalf, one of the most steady-handed receivers in Tyler Lockett, and then a first-round pick in Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'd been like, yeah, I think I'll take this NFL job. I don't think I'm going to be slumming it in the college game anymore. This is the spot for me. And to get all three going, to maybe get all three near 1,000 yards this year, that would be just an incredible thing to see. I think it's only happened, I want to say, like 3 or 4 times in NFL history where 3 guys on a team have gotten 1,000 yards receiving. I mean, why can't it be the Seahawks this year?
I mean, the Seahawks had 2 1,000-yard receivers not too long ago with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Do you think in general, Curtis, that their weapons are being overlooked? Because I think that sometimes there's like a homerism we can get and anyone can get. When you know everything about your team, you forget how good other teams, or how bad other teams can be. So, for instance, when I look around the league, I go, holy cow, like the 49ers have so many weapons. Miami has a ton of weapons. The Bears, they're unproven, but they have a lot of weapons on paper. So I get why, from a national perspective, they'd look at Seattle and go, yeah, they're solid, but we'll see what they can do. But even then, do you feel like they're being overlooked?
Yes, I do. And I think a big reason for that is who is in their division. San Francisco, I think, has the most weapons offensively of any team in the league. You've got Debo, Brandon Aiyuk. You've got Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. I mean, all 4 of those guys are some of the best at their position. And then you go to L.A. with the Rams, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I mean, that might be the best 1-2 receiving combo in the NFL. And because of what exists in your division, the Seahawks, I think, get overlooked because it's like, oh, well, they're only the 3rd best, offensive weapon team in their own division. But it's like, man, you put them across the entire NFL, they're easily a top 10, maybe even a top, 7 or 8. But because of the teams in the NFC West that already are existing here, they don't get that automatic recognition the way they would if you were a team that is just kind of leaps and bounds better than the rest of your division.
Well, and they don't have a top-line running back. Ken Walker's had 1,000 yards before. He had, I think, around 900-ish last year, just short of 1,000. So still a solid season, though the run game overall was not good last year with yards per carry. They really struggled behind a banged-up offensive line. Obviously, running backs dealt with injuries. you have the capability to have wide receivers that can get a ton of yards, but in today's game, a ton of yards is no longer 1,000 yards for a wide receiver, right? It's, can you look like Stephon Diggs? Can you look like Devontae Adams? Can you look like Justin Jefferson? I mean, the gap, like there is a receiver that is going to be considered the 12th best receiver who's going to be close to 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
It's just unreal level of talent. And then you look at some of those other groups, the 49ers, I know Brock Purdy doesn't get the crown there, but gets a lot of attention. Miami, Tua just got paid. The Bears, they've got Caleb. Everyone's wondering what he can do. Houston, with a young C.J. Stroud, amazing weapons out there. I also think part of this is Gino being overlooked.
Yeah. And Gino, I think a lot of people kind of have him as like the 16th or 17th best quarterback in the NFL, but all these like next gen stats, I think there was one this week that was like percentage of like incomplete passes like responsible on the quarterback or something, and Gino had the smallest percentage of passes of any quarterback in the entire league. And I mean, yes, Gino I think plays, maybe it's kind of the style in which he plays, and that it's very like almost cookie cutter in a way. Like he's not
exceptionally mobile.
Yeah, he's not exceptionally mobile. He doesn't have a bazooka for an arm. Like, he's not throwing it 80 yards down the field like Patrick Mahomes is. He's not making a lot of daring throws. But I think because of how accurate he is, some of those daring throws that he does make, he makes it kind of look a little easy. So I wonder if because he's not a Josh Allen, he's not a Patrick Mahomes, he's not an Aaron Rodgers, he's not any one of those quarterbacks that will just unload and go deep every single time, that he doesn't get the proper recognition he deserves. And he doesn't have a huge contract either, so people are kind of like, oh, well, he's still a bargain, what have you.
Yeah.
I think that the Seahawks have a good thing in Gino Smith, especially because they're in this kind of weird in-between of like who's going to be our quarterback of the future, who's not. You could do a lot worse than Gino Smith, especially at the price tag that you're paying him. You're getting a tremendous value out of him that you wouldn't be getting if you were paying him $50-60 million.
Well, and let's be real. We make up our minds about quarterbacks pretty early. I mean, C.J. Stroud is already a top passer list 1 year into the league. Do I think he's an exceptional talent? Yeah. Do I think he's an exceptional talent? He was a number 2 pick. Of course he's getting attention. Of course he is. Or number 3. But the reason that also Gino Smith is largely written off as a second-round pick is because he failed before.
Right.
Like he failed with the Jets, and he can point to the Jets and the media and whatever else happened there and say that wasn't on me, and that's fine. Like, that's his story. Like, that's whatever happened there. I don't know. But there was already a story written about Gino. Like, there was a narrative that existed, and we can say that about any number of quarterbacks around the league. And sometimes those narratives just stick with you. Like, Brock Purdy could go on to win 3 Super Bowls, and people are going to be like, but it's not really Brock.
Right. It's the team
it's not really
around
Brock,
him.
because, I mean, he was the last pick of the draft. Like, he was overlooked. He doesn't have all the weapons.
How good could he
He's just
really be?
Exactly. So there's just sometimes a story that sticks. And I think that's the case with Gino. Let's see if that story changes this year. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. And Curtis has a very interesting stat that Mariners fans will want to hear ahead of the series against the Phillies. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
The vet Trey Brown here with us this morning. We got so accustomed, Trey, to hearing stay on top for 14 years, right? Stay on top, stay on top. Is that still the mantra? Is that still the messaging?
You don't want to get beat over the top. I don't care where you are, who you are, where you at. That's just something you don't want to see because all eyes are on you at the end of the day. I tell people, a corner, that's a position where you just can't make a mistake because, you get the most blame in the game. Once you're beat, everybody see, who's that guy? And they looking, it was you. And it's like, oh, snap.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
This is Stacey Rost. Is that leaky faucet driving you crazy? Don't wait until it becomes a flood. Call Ben's Plumbing, Heating, and Air. At Ben's Plumbing, they pride themselves on 5-star service, where your satisfaction is their priority. Whether it's a stubborn clog or a complete plumbing overhaul, their team of dedicated professionals is here to help with no commission sales tactics. Just honest, reliable service you can count on. Call today at 206-789-5353 or visit Ben's.plumbing. That's Ben's.plumbing.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in zone. It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
Get in zone. So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's the land of the free and the home of student drivers ready to back into your new fence at any given time. It's firing up a round of burgers and dogs on your rusty grill with a faulty gas line that engulfs your tool shed in flames. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers who chunk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Davis Law Group is proud to announce the return of the Life Support I-90 Charity Golf Tournament Friday, August 16th at Washington National Golf Course. Help support first responders in the Cle Elum area and surrounding communities while playing one of Washington's premier golf courses. Proceeds bring life-saving training and equipment to the region, serving the millions of travelers over Snoqualmie Pass annually. Tee times and sponsor packages are limited, so sign up today at dlggolf.com. That's dlggolf.com, because the life you save could be your own.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Presenting Again Fling's love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Going down in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes 100% of odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. And Curtis, we are getting ready to preview a big series here against the Phillies. And you have a very interesting stat, one that when you told me off air before the show, I thought, well, this sounds good. This sounds pretty good to me. I'm now a little bit less worried, still worried against one of the best teams in the league. But you got some good stuff. What do you have?
I do. So the Phillies are one of the best teams in baseball.
Period.
Sure. I mean, what else
Boring.
is new? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Find a new slant, Phillies.
Exactly. Get over it.
In the games since the All-Star break, they have only won 3. They are 3, and I believe, 3-8 in their 11 games since the All-Star break. Series against the Pirates, Twins, Guardians, and the Yankees, who just swept them in Philadelphia over the last 3 games. So in those 3 wins, I noticed something about them. All 3 are shutouts. So in the games since the All-Star break, if the Phillies allow a run, they lose. And their offense has been struggling, maybe not to the level that the Mariners' offense has been struggling this season, but it is an opportunity for the Mariners to catch this Phillies team in a bad spot. And if you were ever going to play the Phillies, Stacey, you want them when they're kind of wounded. You want them when they're not playing their best ball because, as we know, when they are at their very best, they're very tough to beat.
I'll tell you why I like this. The Mariners are good at scoring a run.
They can do that.
The Mariners are so good at scoring a run that sometimes they don't score more than that. I feel pretty good about this right now. Why have the Phillies been struggling so much?
It's been mostly their bats that have cooled off. And you see guys like Bryce Harper, like Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, who has been a good hitter in years past. He has not had a great season this year, but most of their bats over the course of the year have been great. But as of right now, they are not hitting the ball very well. I believe it was Bryce Harper yesterday following their sweep against the Yankees. He said, we need to cowboy up, whatever that means. But it's a Phillies team that is definitely kind of feeling some heat, especially with how good the Mets have been, how good the Braves have been. Not saying that they're going to give away the NL East right now, but they are not the Phillies that were running away with everything at the start of the year. And then another good thing, too, in this series, Stacey, is that the Mariners will likely face Zach Wheeler on Sunday, who is a very good pitcher. But they miss Ranger Suarez, who is on the DL. They miss Christopher Sanchez. They miss Taijuan Walker. They miss the majority of Phillies' really good pitchers. They've got a guy named Colby Allard going on Saturday, who has barely pitched at the big league level this season. Only, in fact, 1 start he's made at the big league level, 4 innings, gave up 3 runs in that game. And then on Friday, you've got a guy named Tyler Phillips, who has only made 2 starts this season for the Phillies. So they've got a very inexperienced starting bunch going up against the Mariners over the course of this weekend. So not only offensively are the Phillies struggling, but you are not going to face what many people consider to be one of the best rotations in baseball. You don't face Aaron Nola. You don't face Suarez. You don't face Sanchez. You don't face any of those guys.
Now, Curtis, remind me who Phillies bats will be facing for the Mariners in this series.
You got Brian Wu on Friday, Bryce Miller on Saturday, and then Logan Gilbert on Sunday. Okay. I hope that Brian Wu can get you 5. I hope that he can get you 5, and then you hand it over to the bullpen. I think his stuff is great, but he just needs to get deep into these games, especially considering we don't know what Gregory Santos' health is going to look like. So you could be down a bullpen arm there. You could be really needing some bullpen help this weekend. I do kind of wonder, Stacey, considering all the injuries that the Mariners have right now, we know Julio and JP won't be available for at least a few more days, especially in Julio's case. But, like, do you put Victor Robles on the injured list? Because Scott Service mentioned, like, this is not going to be a one-day fix. This is going to be probably a couple of days that Robles needs off. He gets the off day today, but do you continue to put him on the IL just to get healthy bats in your lineup, to get healthy bodies, guys who can be available.
I was going to say, what are the available moves that you're going to make if you do put Robles on the IL?
Well, you'd be looking at calling up somebody from AAA, and it would not be, anybody special by any stretch of the imagination, but it'd just be somebody available. So you avoid a situation yesterday where you had Mitch Garver come up in the 10th inning and you didn't have any other option because, you had nobody on your bench at that point. So I think you look at this Rainier's roster right now, I think Ryan Bliss had a grand slam last night, so he's a potential ad you could have up just to have another body up at the big league level. I don't really, you don't have guys like Jonathan Clase anymore, so you can't bring him up. They don't have a whole lot of outfield help right now, so it'll be interesting to see what they would do in that situation. I know they just traded for that Rylan Thomas from the Mets, who they traded Ryan Stanek for, so maybe that's an option as well. But I feel like Ryan Bliss is probably the one guy in AAA right now that is not up with the team that can come up and maybe handle some major league pitching.
I'll say this, Curtis. I don't love having barely a lead in the AL West, wanting desperately to build on that, and then knowing you'll have to do so with a roster that still has some very recent AAA players on it. However, Robles is your only hitter over 300, right? Mm-hmm. Like I don't want to risk hurting what's been a really solid season for him, making an injury worse. It's the same reason I wouldn't want to rush Julio back. I do believe this is a team, if they win the West, they're making the playoffs. What I mean is I think they can win the West. I think that Houston, while they came here, dominated, and they feel like this unbeatable monster, is a deeply flawed team this year. They're already approaching innings high for Ronel Blanco. I don't think the trade for Yusei Kikuchi was exceptional. It's a very controversial trade in Houston with a lot of fans being upset with what the team gave up. So this is a team that is not going to waltz into the playoffs by any means. And so it's a winnable division for the Mariners. They're in first place. I don't think that you go win right now, this week, next week mode when you do need to worry, and you can worry about September. Now, earlier, you and I were critiquing a decision to take Logan out of that third game against Houston and said, hey, why worry about October when you need to worry about right now? Like, you got to worry about getting there. When it comes to injuries for these guys, I'm worried.
Yeah, and it's injuries to very key guys too. These are not guys that are your 26th guy on the roster. These are guys who you are penciling in the lineup every single day. The fact that the Mariners and their offense have been as good as it's been over the last week without Julio and JP is pretty stunning to me, at least, especially considering how bad their offense has been throughout the course of this season. Then you take away who I think a lot of people consider to be their best bats. It's hard to kind of fathom, but this is where we're at. And like you said, you've got to kind of worry about today more so than 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks down the road, considering how tight this race is.
All right, we are going to jump back to some training camp talk. We are live here from Virginia Mason Athletic Center, where the Seahawks are set to begin practice in a couple hours. Our training camp coverage presented by The Landing in Renton. We have Tyrese Knight, a brand new Seahawks linebacker, rookie this year, joining us at noon. Before then, Pharaoh Brown, tight end, going to tell us how Ryan Grubb's offense is looking. He joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Give everybody a few observations from what you've seen from a couple of padded practices.
And you see Mike McDonald, he's out there saying, okay, this is a situation where we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and just the little details. And that's the thing I think that stood out to me, is that he's so detail-oriented. All the communication that's going on out there is really a good thing. And I'll bet you if you ask McDonald, he'd say, man, I'm way behind. I got so much to do. I'll bet you he's ahead of where most coaches are, just because his attention to detail.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Whether you're a street motorcycle rider or even a trail rider, here's your chance to win one of 2 motorcycles. Visit ridefreepnw.com to enter. Eastside Harley-Davidson, Emerald City Harley-Davidson, and Law Tigers are giving away a Harley-Davidson Street Bob and a Touratech-equipped Pan American motorcycle. Explore the best of the Pacific Northwest on one of these bikes, street or trail. Take your pick and enter to win right now. Go to ridefreepnw.com and sign up today. The deadline for this giveaway is near, so enter now. Again, at ridefreepnw.com. And keep in mind, the Law Tigers know how important your motorcycle is to you, so if you've been in an accident, you know who to call. Call Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. They will get you the help that you need. Again, if you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or check them out online at lawtigers.com. The Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers, Mateer Law Firm, LLC.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Hey golf fans, Dan Wilson here, inviting you to join me at the 2024 Boeing Classic. See Masters champions and Golf Hall of Famers live at the club at Snoqualmie Ridge from August 9th through 11th. It's your chance to experience the only PGA Tour champion stop in the Pacific Northwest and see golf's biggest stars. Grab the whole family and come on down to join the action. It's a golf experience you won't want to miss. The Boeing Classic at the club at Snoqualmie Ridge from August 9th through the 11th. For $20 tickets, visit BoeingClassic.com.
For over 111 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington. From the Space Needle in Seattle and now all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. PacificLamp.com.
Miller Lite has your chance to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Just log on to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot, where you can chat with Bigfoot, uncover tales of the Northwest, and enter to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Head to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot. No purchase necessary. Starts 4/9/2024, ends 8/30/2024. Residents of Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, 21+. Official rules at MillerLite.com/Bigfoot for free entry method, odds, and restrictions. Molson Coors Beverage Company, USA LLC, 250 South Wacker Drive, Chicago, Illinois, USA, 60606.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule, call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
To celebrate Team USA going for gold, Xfinity is offering a gold medal deal now through August 11th. Get their best offer yet with 300 megabit Xfinity internet and one line of unlimited mobile for just $35 a month for a year and a free 5G phone. And the action doesn't stop there. Save on some of the biggest names in streaming by adding the new Xfinity Stream Saver with Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $15 a month. And don't wait, because when the Olympic Games end, so does this deal. So go to Xfinity.com/Team USA, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a store today. Get the fastest connection to Paris, only with Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to internet and mobile. Stream Saver price subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Free 5G phone requires eligible trade-in. Select models only, but make the call and don't wait to 1-800-XFINITY.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, congratulations to Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs. He just reached an agreement with the Bucs on a 5-year, $140.6 million contract extension. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, that makes him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. It includes $88.2 million in guaranteed money, also the most ever for an offensive tackle in the league. The Mariners dropped their series finale to the Red Sox yesterday in extras. Let's scrap that series. Next up, a tough one against the Phillies.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, congratulations to Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs. He just reached an agreement with the Bucs on a 5-year, $140.6 million contract extension. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, that makes him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. It includes $88.2 million in guaranteed money, also the most ever for an offensive tackle in the league. The Mariners dropped their series finale to the Red Sox yesterday in extras. Let's scrap that series. Next up, a tough one against the Phillies.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
First down, play action. Over the top they go, and he's got Brown. Pharaoh Brown stretches out, and it's a touchdown.
Joining us right now from Seahawks training camp, it is tight end Pharaoh Brown. Pharaoh, I don't mean to call out what was just happening, but you were giving Bump a hard time for his Lakers, which welcome to the club. Hi, I do that all the time. I don't even have a team to hang on to anymore. Who's your team?
My team is the Cavaliers.
Yep.
Keeping class.
I know. When you only got one, I understand.
Wow.
You know, one championship, it's all good.
So you're talking trash.
Anyway. Man, how's camp going, man? This is it's exciting for us, man. We get up for camp every year, see you guys out there doing your thing. Quick story. The first time we were able to come out here, I was standing by the fence over there, and someone asked, man, who's that Brown guy? Where is he from? I gave him the rundown. So fans are already excited about you, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm excited to be here. I mean, just sitting out here right now is just beautiful. Like, you get these great days, 70 and sunny, you know, right on the lake, the greenery, the energy is great. The fans is loud. I mean, it's just like the perfect, like, setup when you just think of, like, good football days, you know. It's not like you're down south and we all just drenched in sweat trying to cover the game. You trying to talk, sweat everywhere. I mean, it's just a very comfortable place. The organization kind of brings that same winning culture. So it's just comfortable here. These guys know who they are. They know what they want to be. The mission is clear. So when you're in that kind of organization from the front, from the top down, it's easy for us to come out here and be ourselves and do our job. And these fans are great. Pretty loud.
Weather-wise, you're making me think of this question. What's the absolute worst conditions you've ever? It could be too hot or too cold. Worst conditions where you're like, I remember this game, or maybe it was a practice, but you were like, I was miserable.
I was getting to both of them. Like in Houston, it was just like ridiculously hot. Like, we might get a little bit of that when we go to Nashville, and then in Cleveland, I played in the game. It was like negative 32.
Ooh-wee.
Was that the Steelers, or what am I thinking of?
It was, what was that, 2 years ago?
I know the game you're talking about because that was the whole story.
The things that they got on the side, like those rocket heater things, if you stood like 12 inches from it, it was like cold air. So like everybody was standing right on it, and like afterwards, it was like 10 jackets that got burnt. Because it's like blowing fire, but you like standing so close trying to get warm. Jackets was catching on fire. They like putting it out, throwing it away. But like if you didn't stand that close to it,
miserable.
You couldn't feel it. It was like cold air.
Oh God.
I noticed something you guys do in your walkthrough. So when I go to my kids' soccer games, I'm on the sideline. I take my shoes off. My wife tells me it's important to touch the earth. It's called grounding. There's something that goes through your body. She knows the science behind it. I saw you out there, no shoes on, with the walkthrough. Is that part of your thinking, or are you just
that was part of my thinking? Is grounding and earthing is what they call it. It's the negative ions from the earth. to your body. And they say it's supposed to have all these, health effects and good for the body, the energy. So any chance I get, I always try to. It's an easy fix, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of feels good on the feet.
I was going to say.
It might be because of these negative ions. I don't know the science of it all either. I'm still learning it.
I just bought in.
Yeah,
I just told me to do it. I'm like, cool, let's try it.
That's how a married man right there.
Exactly.
I know the same way.
Yeah, same thing with outfits. Just you got it. Absolutely.
I haven't picked out an outfit in 3 years.
Wife handles all the outfits?
I haven't even bought a pair of shoes, clothes, nothing.
She said, this is your closet.
Yeah.
It looks like this.
A waitress, my bag is packed, what I'm wearing is already picked out.
Love.
People be like, who your stylist? I'm like, I don't got one.
Yeah.
My wife just pick out everything. I don't got to think about it.
How long have you guys been married?
It depends on who's counting.
Ooh.
We was together for what, 10 years?
Oh.
9.5 years before we got engaged.
Yeah.
Then we got married. So I'm counting all 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Married is only like one, but shoot, it wasn't no different from, you know what I mean?
So you guys met young, right?
Yeah, we met young.
Met in college then, huh?
Yeah.
We met in college.
Yeah.
Love that.
Met in college.
Same here, met in college.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, your story about Jen, though, is funny because yours was just...
She wasn't rocking with me. I had to pursue her for like 2 or
yours
3
too?
years. Yeah,
Yours is
man.
the same?
Man, I got my wife. I seen her at a restaurant. She was with her mom, and she thought I was my ugly friend. So she didn't want to hit me back for like 2-3 weeks. No texting me, unread text.
Yeah.
You know.
And look at you both now.
Yeah.
You got him.
We got him. Tight end position is one of the most interesting positions to me. I think it's probably changed the most out of a lot of positions in football, and you guys just have the best personalities. I don't know what it is. Is it because you guys can hang out with the diva receivers, do their stuff, and then, pack it in with the offensive line? What is it about the makeup of a tight end that makes y'all so interesting?
I don't know, but that is a real thing. I went to tight end U, and my wife was like, all the tight ends kind of just got the same personality. And everybody get along.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I'm not sure. That's a loaded question. Because I'm just being myself, and I think a lot of guys just be themselves, and you know what I mean? The diva receiver, I feel like receivers in general, it's a lot of like ego.
No offense. It's all good.
It's you know what I mean? But like tight ends, they just like gritty grinders. Not that, you know what I mean? It's just a different, I don't know what it is. It's just, it's like a tight end, man.
You said you went to tight end U?
Yeah.
How was that? Because, we don't get the full effect of tight end U. We get whatever they allow us to see, man. What was that experience like?
Man, it was great. I mean, the way that they put it together from the start to it was like a Fortune 500 company like weekend.
Wow.
Like, I mean, you go in, you getting 3-4 suitcases of gear, cowboy boots. You got, Greg Olsen, T. Kells and Kittle's dad, Kittle all running it, giving great insight, going over film. Then they had all the stuff for the wives,
That's cool.
Get the wives, they little spa pedicures, lip fillers, Botox. I mean, it was like legit, like, at first
I want to go to tight end U.
At first I didn't want to, usually I'd be like, man, it's right after OTAs. You'd be like, this is my first week I can go on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go on vacation. You go there, it was like, it was what I gained from it, I kind of went in with, low expectations, but that's kind of been my motto this year. The lower expectations stuff, the more you receive once you going into stuff. So, I kind of just been rolling with the flow like that.
I like it.
Speaking of this year, new offensive coordinator for you either way, but for us, new offensive coordinator in a couple years. What can you tell us about Grub's offense so far?
Grub's offense. Where do you want me to start? The offense doesn't stop. I mean, there's so much going on in the offense.
Tell me what you like
pillars.
most about it.
What I like most is probably, I think the running game is easier for me.
Okay.
It's more of a, K9, he's more of a wide zone, stretch and cut back.
Yeah.
I've always had the downhill back. So for me, that's a big 300-pound man standing over me, and there's no one coming to help me. And I have to move this man by myself. And it's just mano a mano. Now that 300 guy lines up over me, now I can use some of my speed and footwork because now I want to get him running, to put it in simple terms so some of the fans can understand
that's good.
what I'm going through out there sometime.
Just in case you guys didn't know.
So for me, you know, it's kind of like getting that, now I'm getting that 300-pound man on like a heel, and now I can like push him a little bit and help gravity help instead of like, you know what I mean, having him just leaning all over me. It's a rough life for us tight ends.
It is, man. I respect it. When I was in high school, I asked my coach, I want to play one snap on the line just so I can say I played every position on offense. Man, and this is a Friday night. We're whooping his team's butt. And that JV defensive lineman put me on my butt, man. So, you know, big respect.
He just say he was in the trenches for one play.
And one play.
He was supposed to give you a screen. What was going on, Coach? What was going on?
He said, you want to get in there? Yeah, let's put you up in there.
Did you really think, like, no, I'm going to lay this guy out?
Of course. Of course I did. Hey, when they picked you up, obviously I went back and I'm looking at your highlights with New England. Man, I think you can tap into something that people might not really expect you to tap into, which is that run after the catch. Man, you got a couple big plays in you.
Oh yeah, the yak, man. That's that. Like I remember writing on the thing. The coach this also is like, you know, what's your game? I was just like grit. Like run game, pass game is the same thing. Like that's just grit. You know what I mean? You got to catch that ball. I don't think just how you went down there on that line, you was like, oh, I'm about to get busy with this dude in the trenches. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel like when I catch the ball. Like nobody's tackling me. My coach used to always tell me growing up is like if you couldn't break the first tackle, you couldn't get the ball. So you had to break the first tackle. So it kind of like set with me. Like the first guy is not breaking me down. Yeah. So, I mean, and in my position, I'm only going to get like, I just need like 2-3 balls because I'm going to break, you know, 1 or 2 of those for 15.
Yep.
I get 25, 30 yards. That's all I need.
There we go.
You know what I mean? It's that simple for me. So I know that how I've been in my career, the opportunities have been lower, so I got to maximize all those opportunities when I touch the ball. And it's just fun, and people just can't tackle me.
I love that you chose grit as your answer. Let me tell you what, if there are people listening to this, we're going to be airing this on Thursday, they're going to be like, yes, absolutely. Because so Bump does a lot of coaching, and one of the conversations we've always had is like, do different generations of players embrace ball differently, right? Like you got old school. I'm sure you have old heads that you know that are like, well, the game used to be different. And you could say that about any sport. You could say that about basketball in the 90s or whatever. But there's still so much of it. And there is a toughness inherent to being a football player that doesn't matter if it's a newer generation of players or if rules of the game have changed. Like you could be 22 up here, like Gen Z, completely different generation, and ultimately you want to knock a guy on his butt. Like you have to be like that to play this game, right?
Oh, definitely. I think some of those is kind of like, you know, we getting smarter as people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got new science, we just got all this stuff, so new information change situation, but like some things that just don't change is like, it don't matter what you're doing. You can like just be trying to be healthy in life and like getting up and work out. That stuff gonna hurt. Like I tell my mom all the time, like she getting up, she going to work out, you know, just trying to stay fit. It's like, Mom, go get in the ice tub. Like you're working out, you're working muscles. Like you don't got to go out and do football. Everybody can't do what we're doing, but at the same time, when you're getting active in anything, you got to push through. Like you can be walking 3 miles, and you might want to walk 5 miles. Like you don't get to a point to where it's like you think that you can't go no more, and you got to keep going. So that grit is something that I think doesn't change, and it crosses over through all aspects of life. That's why a lot of, you know, the game, some people like to keep their kids away from this game, but I think that all kids should play football and should play some kind of competitive sport, even if they're not athletic. And I'm harsh on that because I see some kids and I'm like, it is not athletic at all. So it's hard to watch sometimes because they just don't got the gene, but it's good for them. It's good for them because it helps to teach them how to push through adversity, how to push through things, and no matter what
situations.
Exactly. So I think like some of those things is like, I'm not saying these kids should be out. Like with me, I'm kind of built the way I am because I was young and I couldn't play. So I was younger, but I was playing with I was 6, but I couldn't play in games, and I would keep asking the coach, hey, let me practice. So they basically let me practice, but I couldn't play in the game. So I was like 6 out there practicing with the 8 and the 9-year-old. You know what I mean? So, that's probably not wise. That's right there. Look at it up. But now new information. I shouldn't have been out there at 6 years old in full pads and helmet. Play flag football, okay? I'm not just let's play flag football. That wasn't wise. But yeah, but I definitely think that everybody should kind of do that because that grit, you know, that hard work and generations. You know what I mean? And this is with anything. I mean, Jesus Christ, I went to Nickelodeon. I'm probably getting off topic, but I went to Nickelodeon, and I have beautiful kids, beautiful wife, and they just thought that my kids and wife were like these top creators. Like, it was like all the top creators, YouTubers, everybody was at this Nickelodeon thing. I'm just living out a childhood dream of mine. You know what I mean? Slime time back in the day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That was my stuff. So I'm full kid mode. You know what I mean? The kids having a great time. So I'm like, man, I'm looking at these people. I'm like, they just being themselves, just recording. Yeah. So I'm like, we could do this. I mean, are you kidding me? My kids are drop down like freaking steal the show. Man, trying to keep up with that content on social media.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
You talk about grit, man. That's some hard work. This is some long.
A different kind of grit. A different kind.
Don't mess up a reel.
No.
That reel, man. You got to go back on that reel, man. That editing with the. I got big fingers, man. Hey, messing up on them seconds, and then you got. Hey, shouts out to all the creators, man. Anything that you do, all this stuff takes hard work and grit. You got to push through, man. I'm probably behind about 3 weeks on content.
No lies.
All right, last one before we get you out here, man. We know I get you to practice. So you talk about your grit. Is that a mom trait? Is that a dad trait, or is that something that they both kind of instilled in you?
I think it's an environment trait. I grew up in Cleveland, and I mean, you had to have the grit. The environment made you have to have it. Everybody had it, and if you didn't have it, it would be way harder. I mean, everybody got it. You know what I mean? It's just like a thing. And my mom kind of instilled it to me, and, you know, top down, grandmas, you know what I mean? I grew up with all women, so I had to have it. My nephew, who is 15, 16, was the first boy in the family, so I grew up with. My mom had all sisters. They kids had all sisters. So I'm talking like 14 to 1. So all the like middle schools, boys messing with my girls. I'm the only one that can come out there and fight. You know what I mean? I was a lone wolf out there. My teammate was like, my sister would come out and fight boys with me because I was the only guy. So like,
she's like, tag me in.
Yeah, like it just be like all the little like the dumbest stuff ever. But like everybody been kids and know it. But like, you know, most people come on, they got their brother. Like, I was the only person that they could come on to. It wasn't like, call your other cousin. Everybody had to come to me.
Third time this week.
Yeah, right.
You guys need to calm down.
I got all these beautiful girls, and I'm trying to take up for all of them and stuff. So, man, I had to be gritty and, you know, feisty. And, like, you know, it just kind of made me who I am today. So, I would say it was I would say it was a mom trait. Mm-hmm. I think moms actually are, like, more tougher on boys than usual.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like with my boys, I got 2 boys, and like my wife is like freaking, and they be like, "Oh, you're soft for your boys. You're soft." I'm like, they're only 3 or 4. Guys, wait until they're 8 or 9.
All right. He is Pharaoh Brown. Pharaoh, this has been fun, man. We've had a good time. It's been so nice talking to you. This is going to be a fun season to watch, and we can't wait.
Devin, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the conversation with you all.
Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Stacey, first down to you. Training camp is amazing and frustrating for the same reason. Tell us what you mean.
Because everything is a first look. We get our first look at these players, which is very exciting. It's gorgeous out here on the lake at Seahawks headquarters. It means football season's about to start. I mean, for goodness sakes, we do have technically an NFL preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, coming up today. It's already here. On the flip side, getting a first look means everything is very surface level. They're very early on these installs offensively. We can't see guys tackle, which was a huge issue against the run last year, nor can we really see what this offensive line looks like against defenders and edge rushers, which is something this team desperately needs to improve on. They were really banged up there last year. So we won't even know what the team looks like in week 1, in part because the trenches are such a huge part of this. Even then, they'll be constantly developing. So every day when I leave camp, I just keep thinking, I wish I had more takeaways for you guys. And all I can say is, like, DK looks great. JSN is so smooth. Gino's really sharp. But you have no idea what the most important pieces look like, which is along the offensive and defensive line.
Second down. Stacey, one NFL insider is hearing that the Brandon Aiyuk 49ers drama could come to an end soon. What do we need to know?
Sports Illustrated reporter Grant Cohn is convinced that this week, if not today, is the day that Aiyuk gets his extension done. Now, if this actually happens, congratulations to Grant. You get bragging rights. If it doesn't, just take it with a grain of salt. Because this is in part based on an observation he had from camp yesterday. What happened? A hug. A hug was exchanged between Brandon Aiyuk and head coach Kyle Shanahan alongside GM John Lynch. Also gave him a hug. So his theory is that a really seemingly positive exchange between these three at camp, and then also today being the 49ers off day, means that he thinks there could be some negotiations or an announcement. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I saw it from one source, which was Grant Cohn, but he just feels like now is the time that makes sense for this team. So we'll see if it happens.
Third down. All right, Stacey. So if it does end today, what is Brandon Aiyuk asking for, and is he worth it?
So Brandon Aiyuk is looking for a deal that looks a little bit like Amon-Ra St. Brown's, which is 4 years, $120 million, obviously a ton of guaranteed money. Now that would put him around 30, maybe even up to $32 million per year. The 49ers have reportedly offered him closer to $26 million. Maybe they go up to 28. But if you're Brandon Aiyuk, you're looking at these top deals in the league, which are paying guys closer to 30 and a little over, and going, well, why aren't I getting what they're getting? I'm one of the top receivers in the league. I'm the best receiver on our team. But if you look at the receivers who are getting $30 million or more, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Aiyuk is last in receiving yards, last in touchdowns, and last in total receptions. That doesn't mean that those numbers are bad. Those are amazing numbers that he has. But if he's looking at the top earners in the league, he's not quite touching their numbers. And during all of this, he's actually tied with Tyreek Hill for most games played at 50. So in more games than Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, or Justin Jefferson, he's not tallied as many yards, receiving touchdowns, or total receptions. Again, it's the market. So if I'm Brandon Aiyuk, I'm going, well, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm a top receiver. This is what top receivers are getting paid. Just because I'm not putting up Tyreek Hill numbers doesn't mean that that's not what the market is offering me. So we'll see what happens. I would not be surprised to see him touch that 30 million number or even surpass it. It's just kind of what top wide receivers are getting paid nowadays. If you're the 49ers, you're obviously worried about what this means for future extensions, most especially for Brock Purdy.
Fourth down. Stacey, what can you tell us about camp today?
Curtis, it's loud as hell out here. The Blue Angels are doing practices. Now, this was primarily during our interview with Pharaoh Brown, so you guys couldn't hear it, but it is exceptionally loud. So if you are coming out, if you are coming out to practice, I have a theory the Blue Angels are going to be maybe doing a flyover or doing some work around here. I know that they're practicing right now for Seafair stuff or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them continue to fly over camp. And if you hear what sounds like an explosion in the background, I'm okay.
Yeah.
A jet has just flown over my head.
Right. Just standard stuff, standard radio stuff,
Classic.
fighter jets flying over. Just what we have to deal with this time of year.
You're listening to Bump and Stacey on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. One of the biggest stories to come from USA Gymnastics' gold medal win had nothing to do with the performance itself. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Charles Cross is kind enough to take a few moments with us today.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
Talk to me about what we're going to see in a totally different scheme with Ryan Grub now running it.
I feel like the scheme is very explosive. You just see it from the time he was at UW, and I feel like it's a great scheme. I feel like it can be a very explosive offense. getting a lot of first downs and scoring a lot of touchdowns. And I'm very excited to put that to life.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. I'm proud to let you know that nationwide, our clinics have a 4.7 out of 5-star rating on Google. This tells you that our patients are really seeing results. Here's what some of them are saying. The results are close to phenomenal. On top of that, the staff and the scheduling are top-notch, and my technician is a consummate professional. Another patient said, I called numerous clinics, and West Coast was by far the best. The other places wouldn't give me any information over the phone, but West Coast answered all of my questions. My wife and I were skeptical, but we've already noticed the difference. This was a game changer for us. West Coast Men's Health has helped thousands of men reverse their ED using acoustic wave therapy. No pills or shots necessary. Give us a call today so we can help you too.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers who chunk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. Prepare to embark on an epic journey as we present the third weekend at the Washington Midsummer Renaissance Fair at Sky Meadows Park in Snohomish. Choose your alliance, villain or hero. Don your capes, sharpen your swords, adjust your crowns, and prepare for a weekend of unparalleled excitement and imagination. Parking is free. The Washington Midsummer Renaissance Fair. Tickets sold at WashingtonFairWithAnE.com.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to talk to you about the importance of when you hire a lawyer. Some people delay, and that's a mistake. Here's why. When you go before the judge at your first appearance, bail is usually set.
Order in the court.
It may be the only chance you have to address that bail. You're going to want aggressive counsel, arguing for the lowest amount possible, or release with no bail at all. You want someone who knows you, a private lawyer who's going to fight. 1-800-DUI-AWAY. If your bail is set too high, you may be stuck in jail, or you may have to pay an expensive bail bondsman. When you're out, you need a trustworthy lawyer that can help put this whole ordeal behind you. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com to schedule your free consultation for any criminal offense. You wouldn't go into surgery without a doctor. Scalpel. So don't go without 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY!
The Mariners are all about giving you more baseball for your buck. Snag seats for as little as $10 on select dates all season long with Mariners Value Games. Plus, be sure to check out the Mariners Value Menu, available at every game and featuring 11 items priced from $2.50 to $4. Enjoy ballpark classics like hot dogs and peanuts, new treats like churros and chocolate chip cookies, and more. To get your Value Game tickets and check out all the value options at T-Mobile Park, go to mariners.com/value.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline with Bump and Stacy. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. And Curtis, you might have already heard this one, but for anyone who didn't, there's some drama to come from USA Women's Gymnastics. Now, USA Women's Gymnastics is the oldest team, I believe, that's ever competed, or one of the oldest teams, and they had some criticism as a result of that already, but there was some separate criticism levied to them that really, really bothered Simone Biles among the other contestants. So, as we know, they won gold, and after winning gold, Simone Biles posted a photo to her Instagram with the picture of them holding the flag, and it read, "Lack of talent, lazy Olympic champions." Now, for anyone who was like, well, why did it say that? It's because Michaela Skinner, another former member of USA Women's Gymnastics, in cut number 8, had this to say.
But besides Simone, I feel like the talent and the depth just isn't like what it used to be. I just noticed, obviously a lot of girls don't work as hard. The girls just don't have the work ethic, and it's hard too because of safe sport. Coaches can't get on athletes and they have to be really careful what they say, which in some ways is really good, but at the same time, to get to where you need to be in gymnastics, you do have to be, I feel like, a little aggressive and a little intense, because I feel like, Russia's not going to be there, so they don't have to have the stress of Russia. And then what other teams really are there? I mean, there's a lot of teams that have gotten better and have gotten stronger, but I feel like no matter what, as long as we do a decent job, we'll be fine. Even just some of the other girls that fell twice and still ending up in second place in the all-around is just kind of crazy to me. Is it Hazley or Hesley? Okay.
So this is why that's especially controversial, if you guys can still hear me with the Blue Angels flying over.
We got you.
Okay, good. Safe Sport is a nonprofit organization. She mentions because of Safe Sport, coaching is different. So Safe Sport was established, I think, a couple years ago, and it is in USA Gymnastics as almost a direct result of abuse happening, including sexual abuse, at higher levels of USA Gymnastics. So in addition to just kind of implying that the girls on this team didn't work as hard, or that the girls on this team outside of Simone obviously aren't as talented, she's also kind of implying that efforts to reduce abuse, including sexual abuse, but just abuse from coaches at USA Gymnastics, has resulted in a worse product, which maybe you can agree with her. Maybe you're another gymnast who thinks, I kind of see what she's saying, but it's also kind of a dangerous line to walk.
It's a very tone-deaf statement, but also her saying that about this team and them capping it off with a team gold medal too. I mean, that's got to be the ultimate revenge for this group of 5 women that are representing the United States. And I mean, her saying oh, there's no Team Russia this year, so it's going to be easier and whatnot. That's not the United States' fault. That's Russia's fault. That is not the United States' fault that they are not competing against Team Russia in this year's gymnastics competition. Yeah, I mean, this seems like a bitter former gymnast who may have gotten passed over for this team. I don't know if she was in the running for the 2024 team. I know she represented the U.S. on the 2021 team, but this is just sour grapes on her part.
Blitz trying to scare me over here. You gave
Wow,
yourself
you're getting
away.
better. You're
You
getting
gave
better,
yourself
Stacey.
away. I would have been terrified. Next time.
Are you 3-0 right now, Stacey?
I'm up. Yeah.
You're 3-0 against Blitz this year? This is...
Last off-season, so Blitz and I have a competition. If I don't get scared and don't jump, that I win. And if he terrifies me, which is usually what happens, then he wins. He tried to sneak up behind me, but I saw his reflection in my iPad.
Oh.
So right now I'm up. I think I'm up
He's
2-1.
unmistakable.
He got me one time, yeah. So, okay. One thing I'll add on to this, we're going back into a serious conversation, but one thing I'll add on to this is we've seen versions of this argument for a couple different sports. Sports over time, Curtis, as you know, have tried to become safer, have tried to be more aware of many things. I mean, for goodness sakes, you don't even have to talk about player safety. Look at the ways that college football and college sports are trying to change to allow athletes to benefit from names, images, and likeness, or just to right what people have felt have been wrongs. With change always comes unexpected things. So people now hate the transfer portal and hate the way that college sports are, even though the product itself and the athletes themselves are better than ever. you know, in the NFL, people really lament that you can't play the way that you used to. And I can understand that, like, if you loved the way something was before, or even if you're Michaela and you think, like, it used to be tougher, like when I was doing this, it was harder. That's the way some people genuinely feel about whatever sport it is that they played or that they loved or that they did, but it doesn't mean that the change isn't important. You can adapt. You can figure out how to remain just as competitive. And guess what? This USA Gymnastics team was just as competitive, winning by the biggest margin of victory since 2016.
Yeah, I think just because you had a tougher road doesn't mean that should negate what any team after you does. And if you want to know how necessary an organization like Safe Sport is, go watch the Netflix documentary Athlete A. You will see just how dysfunctional, how messy United States Gymnastics was before all of this was brought to light. Obviously, the Larry Nassar case was the sort of the crux of all of this, but it goes beyond that too with USA Gymnastics. So shout out to these 5 women for taking that motivation and being able to just give it right back. And I believe, what was it, Simone Biles looked up Michaela Skinner on Instagram after they'd won the gold medal, and Skinner had blocked her too. The ultimate sign of disrespect amongst the millennials and Gen Z and everybody like that. Like, if you block somebody on social media, no coming back from that.
Next up, jump into MLB. Yankees GM Brian Cashman did not take kindly to his team's perceived lack of urgency around the deadline, cut number 9.
And I know that you want to win, but the highest of urgency to win, I have not seen that the last couple of years quite the way we used to in the past. I haven't, and I don't think I'm alone. So that's why I ask, like, it doesn't feel different with Hal this year at all?
I guess I'd have to get that drug tester over there and let you pee in a bottle so we can get that sample tested.
Let's go.
I'm obviously joking, but at the end of the day,
send it over.
I would provide all the look at the roster, look at the expenditures, the retention of Aaron Judge, the free agent side. So you got an MVP, you got a Cy Young Award winner, you got an MVP type of candidate imported that's big money. You got a retention of an MVP, perennial MVP candidate a couple of years back with LeMahieu when he was a free agent. All designed, these are just examples of all designed as the payrolls go higher, of improving your chances, of trying to stay in it, trying to fight for it. So I would refute what you're saying.
Curtis, what do you think?
I think he's not wrong. I mean, you look at a move like trading for Juan Soto in the offseason. I think that's a pretty urgent move, especially because it's a contract year for him. You've got Garrett Cole. You've got Carlos Rodon in your rotation. Like, I think the Yankees have made a lot of moves over the last year or so that would speak to urgency. I just think that everybody came away from the trade deadline kind of wishing, like, oh, I wish we could have done more, because not a lot of big names were moved. It was basically Randy Arozarena here and Isaac Paredes, and that was about it. Like, there was nothing else. It was a very quiet deadline in terms of star talent. And if you're a Yankees fan, what do you care about? You only care about stars. You only care about winning pennants. You don't care about bringing in a leverage reliever. You don't care about bringing in a utility guy, what have you. You only care about stars. So I can see the frustration from the fan base, but, like, you're the Yankees. You haven't had a losing season since 1992. Okay, you've gone 32 years without losing.
That's almost season. Your whole life.
Right. I was born in 91. I've only seen one losing season in my entire life for the Yankees.
God,
so
imagine.
Like, Yankees fans don't know how good they have it. They will never know how good they have it.
Dan Orlovsky said something very controversial. He ranked the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC, and the rest of his castmates absolutely lost it when he left one particular player out. We're going to rank our top 5 quarterbacks and tell you who Dan had in his top 5 coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Final tally on the Mariners trades. In, Randy Arozarena, Jimmy Garcia, Justin Turner, JT Chargois. Out, Ryan Stanek, Jonathan Clase, 6 minor leaguers, Ty France. I was afraid that the Mariners were going to overpay. I think that's the good part. None of the big bats were moved. It's not just that the Mariners didn't get Vlad Guerrero Jr. You could argue they picked up the biggest bat that was moved in Randy Arozarena.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This is a paid political announcement.
A Bob for Bob update.
Under 12 years of Bob Ferguson as Attorney General and Chief Prosecutor, we in Washington have seen a lot of increases. This, of course, includes a 26% increase in violent crime, 58% increase in homicides, and Washington ranking 4th in the country in stolen vehicles in 2023, behind California, Texas, and Florida. Oh, and according to the FBI, Washington was the 8th most dangerous state between 2020 and 2022. Don't ask for help if you drive a Hyundai or a Kia that's been stolen. What has AG Bob Ferguson done? Bob's been busy planning his governor's campaign and keeping Washington last in the country in law enforcement officers per citizen. As the leader of the Bob for Bob committee, I encourage you to vote Bob if you want more of these crippling policies for Washington, so Bob gets what he's always wanted, governor. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors, Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Hey, it's Amanda. Hiking, biking, swimming, boating, golfing, whatever you love to do, summer is so much better after King LASIK frees you from the hassle of glasses and contacts. Hurry, this month you'll save $1,000. Start with a free Zoom consult at kinglasik.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hi, I'm Stuart Holmes, Elections Director for Washington State. Our primary is August 6th. To register to vote and make your voice heard, visit a county elections office or voting center until 8 p.m. on Election Day. Find voting center locations at votewa.gov. That's votewa.gov.
Sponsored by the Office of Secretary of State and aired in cooperation with the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Hey, it's Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy, inviting you to come to work for IRG. With just over 40 locations in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, you have the opportunity to work in the city and place you want with a great team, a great atmosphere, and great mentorship.
Shannon, what type of staff are you looking to hire? Is it just clinical staff right now?
We are looking to hire not only physical therapists, but also occupational therapists, exercise techs, athletic trainers, front office coordinators. We have a whole platform of different services we provide to the community.
Over 40 clinics in the Pacific Northwest. There are openings across the whole company. Head over to irgpt.com/careers and apply today. But Shannon, will they have any fun coming to work at IRG?
Oh my gosh, Brock, that's what it's all about. We want to have fun. We're all about passion. We're all about positivity. We want people to change lives. That's what we're doing here at IRG. We're changing lives, not only of our employees, our patients, and our communities. We want you to be your best self.
So head over to irgpt.com/careers, irgpt.com/careers, and apply today.
Hey, it's Mike Salker, and look, summer is now officially upon us, so what do you have planned? Oh, it's got to be a lot, right? Vacations, road trips, seeing all that our beautiful area has to offer. You don't want to be limited by how you look or how you feel. You've heard how I went on the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan, right? I lost 35 pounds in just 8 weeks. The results were incredible, and I couldn't be happier with how my life and energy improved. Well, I just want the same thing for you. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is looking for 710 listeners to help this summer. Here's the ask. Schedule a 15-minute, no-obligation consultation at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. It's safe, healthy, sustainable weight loss, no pills, injections, or surgery. You eat real food that you get at the grocery store. You'll lose weight, look, and feel your very best. That feeling can be yours this summer. So what's the secret? Call Eastside Weight Loss Clinic at 425-588-0080 or go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC? If you were to think of them right now, you have a minute or so to think through that answer. Take a listen to Cut 16, what Dan Orlovsky had to say about his top 5.
I would right now, if you asked me to rank the NFC quarterbacks, it's Matthew Stafford 1. I would probably put Jordan Love at 2 and Brock Purdy at 3, but if you flip-flop those guys for me, I would have no argument on that. I'd probably put Kirk Cousins at 4 and Jared Goff at 5. So Love is on his way. The 9-game stretch, he was one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. But Stafford is still
where the hell
at
is
the top.
Dak Prescott, Dan?
I was about to say, I mean, I
Prescott?
didn't. Did you purposely leave out Dak? Did you just overlook Dak Prescott? I mean,
who are you putting Dak over? You going to put him over Jared Goff?
You tell me. You would take. I mean, Harry.
Did he just say all of them?
Does Dak? I mean, Dak wasn't he runner-up for MVP last year?
The MVP of the league at one point last year.
Yeah.
He had a great season.
Can we please talk about this? Now, if you just didn't happen to have Dak Prescott in your top 5 because you truly believe there's just so much talent it's hard to narrow it down, that's completely fair. I mean, God forbid you make a list of the top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC. It's a very difficult challenge. But Curtis, I am sorry, not including Dak Prescott is an awful choice for me. I love Dan Orlovsky, but this is a bad call.
It is. It absolutely is. And I get that Dak gets his fair share of criticism because, you know, he can't win the big game or what have you. But like I think it was Jeff Darlington who pointed out there, he finished second in MVP voting in the NFL last year. So that automatically puts him, you know, near the top of NFC quarterbacks. I get his point about Jared Goff. He has been great in Detroit, has really resurrected his career and has looked like a completely different quarterback under Dan Campbell. But I feel like Dak Prescott is a quarterback that if you had to win one game, you'd probably take him over Jared Goff. I can agree with Matthew Stafford being in his top 5. Jordan Love, maybe yes. I mean, he's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now. He has had one season as a starter. The one I disagree with him, and I get that this guy had a really good start to last season before he got hurt, is Kirk Cousins. We don't know what Kirk Cousins is going to be like after this injury, coming back from this injury. Who knows what he's going to be like as a starting quarterback in Atlanta. So that's the one I think I disagree with him the most on. If I were to swap somebody out from that 5 that Orlovsky had, it'd probably be Kirk Cousins, put in Dak Prescott. I do think, though, Stacey, that this conversation, I think we had varieties of it last year at certain points because Gino Smith was kind of in that running at one point, I think, heading into the 2023 season of like, is this guy actually a top 5 quarterback in the NFC? But I feel like NFC quarterback play has improved a lot over the last season to where it's not so much of a toss-up anymore because we didn't even mention like Jalen Hurts. We didn't mention Kyler Murray. We didn't mention Caleb Williams, who I think is going to have a really good rookie season. There are a lot of guys. Brock Purdy is a name that didn't make my top 5 list, and he just led the 49ers to the Super Bowl and was also considered for MVP at some points last year. So you look at the talent in the NFC, yes, it is better, but you cannot discredit what Dak Prescott has done in Dallas, especially in the 2023 season.
Exactly. I think Dak Prescott gets a large amount of blame for Dallas just not being able to be successful in the playoffs nor get back to a Super Bowl. But if you look at the actual stats, and you can say whatever you want about the weapons around him, go ahead and ignore that Matthew Stafford has great weapons. Go ahead and ignore that Jared Goff has great weapons if you want. If Brock Purdy has great weapons, if you want to ignore that that's the case for every quarterback on this list, that's you. But looking at all these quarterbacks, isolating 2021 to 2023, no quarterback of these 6, has more passing touchdowns than Dak Prescott. From 2021 to 2023, he has 96. The next closest is Kirk Cousins with 80. Jared Goff has 78. Matthew Stafford has 75. Jordan Love has 35. Brock Purdy with 44 during that time. Obviously, Dak Prescott is the best rusher of all of them, leading in rushing attempts, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and overall fantasy points. I mean, the only category where he's not going to be leading is Jared Goff leading in total passing yards, but Dak Prescott is second on that list with 11,825. I mean, the stats don't back it up. You can look at it and you can say this kind of subjective, I would rather have Jordan Love than I would Dak Prescott, fine. But if you are going by numbers, who have been the most productive quarterbacks in the last 3 years, Dak Prescott is on that list and has better numbers than the names that Dan put ahead of him.
Yeah, I think Orlovsky kind of falls into that trap of he is a very big Lions homer, and I'm not to say that, and I don't think that Jared Goff is, a horrible quarterback or anything. I just said that he was a really good quarterback and has taken his game to another level with the Lions. But, I mean, just to say that Jared Goff is better than Dak Prescott, I don't see that. Matthew Stafford, I think, yes, when healthy, he is better than Dak Prescott. I mean, he just showed he could win a Super Bowl, 3 seasons ago with L.A. So there is, I can see where he's coming from with some of these guys, but I feel like that may have been a little personal for whatever reason. He may have some kind of beef with Dak Prescott. I get that, clowning on Dak is the it thing to do in the sports media world. I don't know if this is controversial or anything, but I kind of root for Dak Prescott in a way to kind of,
I do too,
to kind of silence those doubters. Now, that does not make me a Cowboys fan, because unfortunately Dak's success means that the Cowboys are winning more and more often. But I hope that one day he gets kind of the send-off that Matthew Stafford got, where he does get an opportunity to play in a Super Bowl, to play for an NFC championship. I don't pin all of the Cowboys' playoff losses and playoff failures on him at all. I think this last year was a failure of their defense, where they allowed, 49 points to the Packers. I think Mike McCarthy is not an amazing head coach. I think Jason Garrett was not a great head coach. And those are the two guys that he's played for. Imagine him playing for an Andy Reid, or playing for a Sean McVay, or playing for Kyle Shanahan, something like that. Like, you're telling me that there are 5 teams in the NFC that would not trade their quarterback situation for Dak Prescott?
I don't understand.
I think most of them would.
That's the thing. I think it's that thing we talked earlier in the show when we were talking about Gino, about a narrative following you, and the narrative with Dak is, he's just not clutch. He just can't get it done. Someone literally texted in, Dak is a loser. Dak's a loser? Well, he's the winningest quarterback of these 6. So I don't know what you want me. He has the most wins of the 6 quarterbacks that we've been talking about, including him and the 5 on Dan Orlovsky's list. So if he's a loser, what does that make the other ones?
Right, and also Dak's career has coincided with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. We're going to say this about so many quarterbacks over the next decade of this guy doesn't have a ring, he's not any good. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, but he played at the same time as Tom Brady. He played at the same time as Patrick Mahomes.
What if we say that about Josh Allen?
Right. Like, Josh Allen is incredibly talented. 31 of the 32 NFL teams would do anything to have Josh Allen throw passes for them. And the only team that wouldn't is the one that has Patrick Mahomes.
Another listener said, well, how many of those wins are in the playoffs? I'm so glad you asked. Championships, only 1 among this group goes to Matthew Stafford. Pro Bowls, you've got 2 for Kirk Cousins. He has the most. The only All-Pro is Dak Prescott. Of all of these guys, yes, Jared Goff has been to an NFC championship game. He's been to a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl. Jordan Love obviously has a playoff win under his belt. But this is not a group also that is lacking for postseason accolades or whatever. And do you pin every single Dallas failure on Dak Prescott? Last time I checked, that defense completely fell apart, so much so that people thought that it hurt Dan Quinn's campaign to be a head coach.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott's not the one allowing the Packers 49 points. He's not the one allowing Jordan Love to throw all over the field. He can only do so much on his side of the ball.
All right, we are going to see if we can grab a Seahawks player ahead of practice here. Linebacker Tyrese Knight. Excited to talk to him. It's coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
I'm excited to talk to Jerry DiPoto today, Mariners president of baseball operations.
As we head into August and September, we've been down this road now for the fourth consecutive year as a contender, but this time we go in first place. I think this team is inspired. This team is relieved that we went out and we found guys that help, that really bring something to both the clubhouse and the energy on the field.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hey there. Gerber Life would like to talk to you about the importance of guaranteed life insurance for when you...
No, thank you.
I get it. Nobody likes to think about life insurance because it means having to think about the end of... So I'll make this short and sweet. If you're 50 plus or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. Guaranteed acceptance means you don't need a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just visit GerberLifeFamily.com. Then, when that thing you don't want to think about does eventually happen, and you know it will,
I'm not listening.
your family can use the insurance money to help cover the cost of your final expenses, or anything else. Now that's worth thinking about. Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance. For a free quote, visit GerberLifeFamily.com today. See website for terms and restrictions.
Get ready for a night of fastballs and fairy tales. Mariners' Family Favorites Fireworks is coming up Friday, August 9th. The Mariners are squaring off against the New York Mets, and after the game, don't miss out on a dazzling display featuring beloved songs from the animated movies you know and love. It's your chance to bring the whole family and experience a memorable evening of Mariners magic.
Has he done it again? He does! Cal Raleigh has homered from both sides of the plate.
Visit Mariners.com to get your tickets and catch 2 great shows for the price of 1. Mariners baseball and a fireworks spectacular. Plus, check out what's on deck at T-Mobile Park all summer long, including a Tridents Up t-shirt giveaway Saturday, August 10th, presented by Sato, and more fireworks nights presented by T-Mobile.
Go on a grand slam for J.P. Crawford! He comes up big again!
Mariners baseball, Tridents Up.
4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide a lifeline to breast and gynecologic cancer patients in our community. Join us at Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle for an afternoon of hope and inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th at nwhopeandhealing.org. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Hi, I'm Stuart Holmes, Elections Director for Washington State. Washington's primary is August 6th. There's still time to register to vote and make your voice heard. Visit a county elections office or voting center until 8 p.m. on Election Day, August 6th. Find voting center locations at votewa.gov. Secure your vote, register today.
Sponsored by the Office of Secretary of State and aired in cooperation with the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, if you are addicted to football, congratulations, because football officially returns today. The Bears and Texans will face off in the Hall of Fame game, though Caleb Williams not expected to play in this one.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Seahawks rookie linebacker Tyrese Knight expected to join us in just a couple minutes here ahead of practice, and Curtis Rogers is in for Michael Bumpus today. Curtis, how's it going there in that nice air-conditioned studio?
Yeah, climate controlled. It's great.
It's so
no
great.
wind, no nothing, no blue angels flying above. Can you say the same?
I can't, but I will never complain about being paid to sit outside and talk about football at training camp. So that's the flip side, right? I'm very grateful to be out here, even if I am a little hot. I could probably have a sweatshirt I could take off.
Yeah, I don't have any windows in this room, at least windows that look outside. So you have that beat on me. You get actual vitamin D today. I do not.
I could just flip the phone and face the field so you could feel like you're here. But
it's like,
then,
thank you.
I know. I'm going to have a Seahawks PR member come up. Why are you filming practice?
It's like, no, I'm just giving my co-host a view.
No, I swear. I'm just letting my co-host see outside. He hasn't seen daylight in so many hours. It's been a long time for him. I'm really excited to talk to Tyrese for a number of reasons. One, because I haven't talked to him yet at all. But for another reason, Curtis, this linebacker room is facing a ton of questions. And when you're facing a ton of questions, combined with low expectations, no disrespect to these guys, but people don't know a lot of them, there's always a chance to be really, really surprised.
It is, and I hope that Tyrese Knight is one of those surprises, especially because you look at the commitments made in terms of number of years, like contract-wise and whatnot. Tyrese Knight is a guy, he was a fourth-round draft pick.
Yeah.
He's not a one-year signing or anything. I think this guy's going to have a good season.
And Tyrese joining us right now. Tyrese, really excited to have you. How's your very, very first training camp going so far? Oh.
Good.
Yeah,
training camp going good, having ups and downs, but that comes with the process. But, I'm just grateful to be here and ready for the opportunity.
Tyrese, your football journey has taken you everywhere in this country. You're a Florida guy. You played junior college ball in Kansas. You played college ball in Texas. Now you're here in Seattle. Do you ever kind of look back and be like, man, I've done it all in terms of just playing wherever you can play in this in
Yeah, I look
States.
back at it. I had a long process. From Florida, I went to Kansas, then went to Texas. Now I'm in Seattle. So I pretty much, you can say I've been everywhere in the United States. But it's been a long journey from the show. But I'm grateful. Everybody got their own path. So my JUCO experience was fun, and my experience in Texas was also fun. So I'm just grateful that I took that route, honestly.
What's been the coolest moment so far? Maybe from the draft process to now. Like a memory where you're like, I'm going to remember that forever.
I honestly say, draft day, just seeing my family, my mom, excited and crying and stuff like that. So I'd say that'd be the most time memorable.
How much interest did the Seahawks show in you in the draft process? Were they a team that you were constantly in communication with?
I wouldn't say constantly in communication, but I did have a top 30 visit here, and that visit went well, with the coaching staff, met Coach Mike McDonald and Coach KO and everybody. So that visit this weekend went well. So I knew going to the draft night, there was a possibility that I end up here.
Tyrese, you are the youngest player that we've interviewed. You're the first rookie that we've been able to talk to. You were born in 2000. I just need to ask you if you know about any of the following things. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever heard of Keenan and Kel?
Yeah.
No?
I heard of it.
Okay. Rocket Power?
Nah.
Doug?
Nah.
Rugrats?
Yeah.
Okay, Rugrats we've got. How about, let's see, Curtis, I'm blanking. I remember asking a player if he'd heard of...
Tyrese, have you ever eaten at a Pizza Hut?
Like me, like at the restaurant?
Yeah. Have you ever sat down at a Pizza Hut? Because
for sure.
Oh, okay. Because they don't have many sit-down Pizza Huts anymore.
Yeah, I mean, back in Florida and El Paso, we had a lot of Pizza Huts.
Have you ever used a CD?
Yeah, growing up, before movie theaters were popular for us, we used to, see some bootleg people at the corner store just get the stuff on
DVDs?
Yeah.
Tyrese, those are DVDs.
Nah, CD. It was like CDs, but they had a movie on it, so we should put it in. It was like something crazy.
DVD.
Like a red box?
You're so young.
I'll put it on PlayStation.
Okay, you're being a good sport. Thanks for going through our quiz here. Tell me a bit about some of the other linebackers you're working with. Have you had a chance to get to know them very well? I know you've got some veterans in there.
Yeah, the vets on the room, you could say T-Dot and Jerome Baker.
Yeah.
They've been taking me under their wing, teach me what they be seeing and how I could play fast and improve my game. So, I'm getting certain things for each of them, but they've been a good help for me, and I'm going to continue to pick things from them.
Good.
Tyrese, going into your senior season, you were very productive at UTEP, but then your senior year stats really exploded. You set a career high in tackles, TFLs, sacks. You were really a force in that UTEP defense. You moved from the outside, but going into playing the Mike linebacker spot in 2023, what did that position switch do for you? Did it just kind of feel like, putting on a warm sweater? Did it feel like home? How comfortable were you playing the Mike?
I mean, my position switch, it just was based on the defense. We felt like me being in the middle would make our defense just more smoother. So I went with that position switch in the spring and carried on to the season. But I would say overall, I'm always somebody to be around the ball. So, playing in the middle, this ball go left or right, I can have a 50-50 chance getting to. But instead of being outside, if it goes the other way, I can't really have no effect in the play. So I felt like just going to Mike, everything just felt good for me. And also, the game just slowed down for me a lot. So a lot of things took it to effect last year, and everything just played out well.
How's this offense looking like from a defensive point of view? What's it look like to you?
Let's say the offense ain't looking really none crazy for her. I just say once I get the playbook down to how we feeling in college, just moving how I can move, I feel like I'll be the same person I was last year.
What are some goals you have for yourself in your rookie season?
Rookie season for sure. Really to help the team out in a way I can, be the best player I can be, and just be ready whenever they call upon me.
Have you had a chance to talk much to Mike Macdonald? I know that when he and John did a press conference during the draft, and John was asked about drafting you, he specifically deferred to Mike, which made all the reporters, I think like, oh, I wonder if Mike Macdonald was like, we got to get this guy. Like, he seemed to really know a ton about you. Have you had a chance to talk to him much?
We talked, we had a good little conversation when I came in for my top 30. Just sit down. He just asked me about my game, like what makes me play the way I play, and just really since then, he really expect the world from me and just expect me to perform how I know I can. He always telling me to start thinking so much, just play fast and do me. So I he know what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
So Tyrese, you said you spent some time playing junior college ball at Kansas at Independence Community College. Were you there when they filmed Last Chance U?
Yeah, my freshman year there, that was second year there. So I was around all the cameras and stuff. I wasn't in the show, but I could put myself out in a couple episodes. But yeah, I was done around that with Jason Brown and all them people.
What was Jason Brown like as a coach?
Yeah.
I redshirted that year, so I ain't really that much experience him. But for sure, I could tell you he wasn't acting in front of the camera. That's really how he used to act on and off the camera for real.
So it was the same, no matter what?
He wasn't acting for real. That's him.
I did get that vibe. He's found himself in controversy since, but I've never thought it wasn't how he was.
Nah,
he seems authentic.
He wasn't trying to put on a show. That's him.
Yeah.
Was it ever weird, going to class or going to practice, and you see this guy with a big boom mic and just trying to get in your guys' locker room? Was that a strange feeling going from playing high school ball to all of a sudden there's these cameras around your junior college program?
You might need to We got Blue Angels flying over us. He said, was it a weird feeling just to be trying to do your thing and you've got cameras in your face?
Oh, no, I mean, it wasn't really that bad because, again, like the cameras wasn't directly just watching me film around. So, you know, I just go in and around just trying to avoid them. But, you know, it pretty much wasn't that big a difference, honestly.
Thoughts on the Blue Angels flying over?
Yeah, that's the first time for everything.
Wait, so have you, like, this was the first time right here?
I mean, yesterday we was out here, so I saw, but it wasn't directly over. It was just going over the lake and stuff like that.
It went directly over earlier today. When I tell you it's like the loudest sound I've ever heard.
When we was in meetings, we heard all this crazy stuff. I didn't know what that was, but now we know.
I'm wondering if when you guys are out there, it'll be flying over. Because I mean, look, as a defender, you're going to be playing in some loud stadiums. Because you've obviously had that experience already, obviously. What's the loudest place you've played?
Oh, I probably said Oakland, OU.
Oh, wow.
2022.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say we was their first game, so, you know, it was packed out.
Like, you couldn't hear yourself speak.
We can, but, you know, it always get loud when they make a play.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tyrese, what do you make of your new defensive coordinator, Adam Dirty? I imagine the British accent, probably something new that you haven't experienced from a coach.
I'm getting better with it for sure. Like Ricky Minicamp, he was the one giving us a call. So, you know, this is my first time learning a new defense and also hearing it coming from people. So when he used to give us the calls and all the microphone headset, I didn't really know what he was saying, but now I'm understanding everything.
Does he use any British slang that you're just kind of like, Coach, you've lost me? I have no idea what you're saying.
No, not really. Just, I mean, I can say with certain calls,
Yeah.
what was the call? Like for him to say it to the group, but pretty much I'm pretty good with it.
I love the idea, though, of especially linebacker being like, sorry, Coach, what that accent is way too thick. I need to know what you just said. What's it on about? I don't even know what he would say. I don't even know what defensive calls would sound like. Yeah, close.
And that long, though. We probably got, like, most calls, we probably got 5 words.
Yeah. All right, we're going to kick you out of here because you got to get to practice. You have a busy day ahead. Thank you so much for joining us, though. We had fun talking, and I will continue to laugh about CDs on movies on CDs.
Yeah, it was a thing for us.
All right.
Thank you.
He is Tyrese Knight, Seahawks rookie linebacker. Going to get out here and have a good day of practice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyrese.
All right, Curtis, let's go ahead and get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must
make headlines. The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
The Bears and Texans 4-stringers play tonight in the Hall of Fame game. What's the real headline?
If you're watching, you've got an addiction.
Yeah, and you need to seek help. I don't know what to expect from this game tonight, Stacy. There's nobody on either side that anybody's going to know about, but yet it will probably outdraw everything besides the Olympics, right? Like, the NBC already has the Olympics, so they're not going to broadcast this game. So I believe it will be on ABC and ESPN, but it's still going to draw, I bet, 6, 7, 8 million viewers.
Oh,
there's so many stickers. If you're betting on this, that's when you need to seek help.
Yeah, like, I'll make fun of, like, a really, really bad Thursday night matchup, but I'll still watch it. This is one where I'm probably not going to watch. Now, if Caleb Williams were playing, I would absolutely turn it on. Even for a preseason game, even if they were like, he's going to be out there for 2 drives, I would still tune in just to check it out, see what he looks like. Number 1 pick in the draft. I'm very curious about the Bears this year. But, yeah, I don't know about this one.
Can you name the Bears' backup quarterback? He started a couple games last year.
No.
Tyson Bagent.
Oh, that's the one whose
him?
last name I would always mess up in NFL. It looks like Bagent or Bagant. Yeah, I know because I've asked you how to pronounce that multiple times.
Headline rewrites.
I feel so old after that interview. Now, I'm not surprised that he didn't know any of the shows, and I do know that he's talking about bootleg. Like, he's talking about burned DVDs. Did they do that on CD-ROMs? Was it all the same disc?
Stacy, I'm not a snitch. Okay, I'm not gonna give up anybody who's done that. But I think maybe they burned them onto CDs.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
You know, because when you're watching a movie that's like a fake movie, it's like a burned
CD. You can kind of
CD.
tell, yeah.
Yeah. I
Hey,
don't know. Maybe I need
don't
to
hate the
bring
player,
Tyrese.
hate the game.
Yeah, I'll need to bring Tyrese back and be like, explain more about these movies. They were filmed in a theater, correct?
You see the shaky camera of somebody else.
Yeah, someone said you can still find some of those movies on CDs. See, I was just wondering, like, are the discs that they use for CDs and DVDs different?
I think so. I feel like the text line is probably very frustrated with us.
Yeah,
being like,
easy.
how can you not know this, guys? Well,
Yeah, sorry. I know. Maybe I just shamed a 23-year-old for no reason.
All right, Katie Ledecky tied the all-time record for most Olympic medals won by a woman with her gold medal in the 1,500-meter freestyle. What's the real headline?
There's something special about a country with the highest rates of obesity dominating in international sports. Get you a country who can do both.
she is a machine in the pool. She will not lose in that discipline. 1,500 meters. She's the 20 fastest times. Did she get bored at the end of that race? I
Right.
would have. Like, guys, I thought this was supposed to be a competition.
Host.
Here was her on the podium after winning the 1,500.
I try not to really dwell on history or the magnitude of things. Again, I'll just let you guys do that. But yeah, I mean, those women that I'm up there with now, they're people that I've looked up to for so many years. I consider many of them friends, supporters, people that I was watching swim when I was just starting out in the sport. So that's very special to me to share that with them, and they've definitely inspired me.
Stacey, did you see what was maybe the lamest social media post yesterday? It was
No.
from the ACC conference.
Oh, of course.
Taking claim for Katie Ledecky, who swam at Stanford. Stanford hasn't spent a day in the ACC.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
up. Get out, ACC.
Right.
That is so shameless.
Yeah.
Now, granted, will I claim Jerry Rice as a Seahawks player? Sure,
Yeah,
but that's
sure.
different because everyone knows we're joking.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, the ACC was like, congrats to one of our alums, Katie Ledecky. It's like she didn't spend a single second of her
Not a
collegiate career in
second.
the
And
ACC.
honestly, nor should any Stanford athlete for that matter.
No.
Because Stanford doesn't belong and doesn't make sense in the ACC.
God, I saw that post yesterday, and I just wanted to throw my phone against the wall. Thanks a lot, Larry Scott. You have ruined everything.
Truly everything. And we'll get away with it because it was in, I think anything that is, I don't want to say hard to understand, but it happened over the course of a decade, essentially.
Yeah.
And involves boring topics, TV deals, media rights deals, higher levels of sports industry politics that just aren't as fascinating to people. And so it kind of sneaks under the radar that he ruined a conference.
Headline rewrites.
Someone told me a Burn movie would be on a blank DVD, not a CD, so they are different. I burned many a CD in my day.
Yes,
and then
I know
you would
how to
write
do
all
that.
the songs on the top, but never burned a DVD.
All right, Team USA men's basketball got revenge on South Sudan with a 103-86 victory. What's the real headline?
Nothing like sticking it to the team from the youngest country in the world.
That's right. Time to learn yourselves, South Sudan. This is what Olympic dominance looks like. 17-point victory. Love to see that, especially coming off the very close call that USA had against South Sudan in the exhibition slate, where I believe it was LeBron had a layup with like 8 seconds left that gave USA a 1-point victory. I think Team USA is going to get the gold medal. I think they have a really good shot at going undefeated too. And once you get to the knockout round, you can't lose. So hopefully they get there and take care of business, because you hate to see Team USA lose in one of the banner sports, one of the sports that they put a heavy emphasis on.
I'm not expecting them to lose, and nor are you, but do you see the gap closing with basketball?
Yes, I think there will be a day in the very near future where another country wins gold in the Olympics, and it's because they've got some incredible talent on their roster. I mean, You look at Greece, they've got Giannis. Serbia's got Nikola Jokic. Slovenia's got Luka Doncic. I mean, all these guys can take over a game at any point. So there will come a day, but hopefully it is in the much distant future rather than now. Because USA's got the best collection of talent.
Back to, we have a couple minutes here, so why not have a conversation about the dissolution of the Pac-12?
Yeah.
Jen in Beaverton, love Jen, said, stupid Larry Scott, the next guy wasn't any better. I've always kind of, one of the more fascinating things about the end of the Pac-12 to me, later, or no, not Pac-10, Pac-12, later Pac-2, was George Kliavkoff's role or lack thereof.
Yes. It's funny because last training camp, I remember we were out there as the conference was dissolving and as everybody was going their own way. So we're basically like a year removed from the just complete destruction and devastation of the Pac-12. And I don't think anybody who roots for any of these schools is happy about it. No one is happy that they are in the current situation they're in. Even the fans of USC and UCLA, the two schools that started this whole thing off the year prior, I don't know if anybody is going to be happy with their current setup.
I guess it ultimately comes down to, is there a way George Kliavkoff could have saved the conference? And if the answer is no, then it's almost like you're just a lame duck commissioner who...
Yeah, I mean...
And I don't know the answer to that. Maybe there was.
Right. It did kind of feel like he took the torch from Larry Scott and dug his feet in even further with the whole DirecTV stuff, with... letting the Big 12 get a TV deal done before them, and rather than being proactive in conference expansion, they were unfortunately reactive and let USC and UCLA walk, and then everybody else left, and now you're down to just two schools who have been handed this, just horrible situation that they are now responsible for, which they didn't ask to be responsible for. I think if George Kliavkoff had approached it in the way that Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark did, where he was aggressive in getting the TV deal done, aggressive in expanding his conference, even after he lost Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, he was like, okay, well, let's go out and pick apart the Pac-12. They got
because he didn't think that he was above those schools. That's the problem with the Pac-12 is I wonder if they thought, we are above this TV deal. We're above adding these schools. We don't want to add Boise State. We don't want to add, what was the school where we wondered if they wouldn't add them because of academic reasons? Thinking that it's beneath them in any way when you're the conference raking in the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just... It's crazy to think being a year removed from all that and how nothing is better in terms of college football viewership for us out here on the West Coast. We have it terrible compared to everybody else.
All right, well, on that bright note, you're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers is in for Michael Bumpus today. Get your questions in for what I need to know to wrap up the 1 p.m. hour, 866-979-3776. We are getting back to Mariners. I know we've been so NFL and Seahawks heavy. We're live out from Seahawks training camp, so that's why we've also got some big stories to cover. But Ryan Rowland-Smith of MLB Network and Root Sports is joining us in less than about 30 minutes from now. He'll join us, so we'll get to that. Coming up next, though, Darren Waller says that critics of Daniel Jones are forgetting one key thing.
Headline rewrites. Seattle Sports.
Motorcycle riders, Bob Stelton here. I love this time of year. The weather's nice. I'm out on the bike as often as possible. And knock on wood, I've never been in an accident. But maybe you have. And if you have, you need to call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. First of all, your case evaluation is completely free. They don't get paid until you get paid. And they should be the first call you make after a motorcycle accident. And I'll tell you why. Because they fight for you, the motorcycle rider, and your family to get you the compensation you deserve. With over 20 years of experience, they're going to handle your case with the respect and dignity you deserve. The insurance company wants to get away with paying out the lowest settlement they can as quickly as they can. With the Law Tigers, you don't have to handle your motorcycle case alone. So why should you hire Law Tigers after an accident? They can help you get your motorcycle and gear repaired or replaced. Law Tigers knows how important your motorcycle is to you, so after you've been in an accident, give them a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. They will get you the help that you need. Again, that's 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or lawtigers.com. The Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers, Mateer Law Firm, LLC.
At State Roofing, you can trust us to get your project done right because we prioritize quality and excellence in everything we do.
Take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest today, and don't pay until 2025. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
The vet Trey Brown here with us this morning. We got so accustomed, Trey, to hearing stay on top for 14 years, right? Stay on top, stay on top. Is that still the mantra? Is that still the messaging?
You don't want to get beat over the top. I don't care where you are, who you are, where you at. That's just something you don't want to see because all eyes are on you at the end of the day. I tell people, a corner, that's a position where you just can't make a mistake because, you get the most blame in the game. Once you're beat, everybody see, who's that guy? And they thinking it was you. And it's like, oh, snap.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman speaking to those who have recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer. It's important to know you have several options for treatment. I'm here with Dr. Meyer, Medical Director of the Swedish Radiosurgery Center, to talk about one of the best and technologically advanced treatment options, CyberKnife. Dr. Meyer, why is CyberKnife one of the best procedures to treat prostate cancer?
Well, treatment for prostate cancer can affect men's quality of life. It can affect their romantic life. It can affect their urine and bowel function. And the CyberKnife does the best job of preserving that function while having excellent cancer control rates.
What do your patients think of the CyberKnife treatment experience?
Well, at the Swedish CyberKnife, our patients are really satisfied with the experience. They report very few side effects, and we are seeing excellent cancer control 10 years later.
To learn more about CyberKnife for prostate cancer, go to swedish.org/CyberKnife-prostate or call 206-320-7187. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
12's Seahawks training camp powered by Boeing is on the horizon. Starting July 24th, join us lakeside at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center for the first of 9 practices. Get an up-close look at the new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald, and the next gen of Seahawks players as they take the field to prepare for the upcoming season. Summer in Seattle and Seahawks football, what's better than that? Register now at Seahawks.com/training camp. That's Seahawks.com/training camp.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
To celebrate Team USA going for gold, Xfinity is offering a gold medal deal now through August 11th. Get their best offer yet with 300 megabit Xfinity internet and 1 line of unlimited mobile for just $35 a month for a year and a free 5G phone. And the action doesn't stop there. Save on some of the biggest names in streaming by adding the new Xfinity Stream Saver with Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $15 a month. And don't wait, because when the Olympic Games end, so does this deal. So go to Xfinity.com/Team USA, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a store today. Get the fastest connection to Paris, only with Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to internet and mobile. Stream Saver price subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Free 5G phone requires eligible trade-in. Select models only, but make the call and don't wait. To 1-800-XFINITY. Hey, Brock Ewart here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. The weather is warming. The sports are moving outdoors, Shannon. Maybe time to take care of that lawn and pull the old lawnmower out. Is it a time where you get a little busier as the weather warms?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. What we know, particularly in the Puget Sound, we have these cold, wet winters. The weather changes, the sun comes out, and everybody wants to rush outside and do things. And I'm telling you, that's great, but you got to take time, listen to your body. You got to prepare your body for those activities. You don't want to go too fast, too soon. So warm up, stretch, make sure you have flexibility, a little bit of conditioning, because if you're conditioned and ready and prepared, those activities outside are going to be so much funner, if that makes sense. You're an athlete yourself, Brock. You know how important warming up is.
No, I like funner. I think they would tell you more fun, but I kind of like funner. And that's exactly what IRG is. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. Remember, that's irgpt.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, taking a look at the top stories in the league. We are going to start New York, where former Giants tight end Darren Waller says critics of Daniel Jones are forgetting one key thing when talking about his 2023 season. Cut number 10 from the Ross Tucker podcast.
It was crazy because we were going into the season like, man, this might be like special, you know what I'm saying? And then it was like we couldn't really protect him, and it's like you can't expect anybody to be successful with the pocket looking like it was last year on our team on a week-in, week-out basis. So I'm hoping that they can just get that dude a chance, because right when he got his bag, like he just got there with no protection. So I don't think he really got a fair shot to really improve upon his play. So I'm hoping that he can get that chance.
Now, Darren makes a completely fair case. The offensive line for the Giants was not just one of the worst last year, but the most banged up. I mean, when they were facing the Seahawks in Week 4, they were already down several starters, as was Seattle, which obviously was something we were tracking here. But Curtis, he did not have the protection that he had the year prior when he took off and was one of the better rushing quarterbacks in the league, dual threat quarterbacks. I also just think there's a limitation to what he can do.
Right. I don't think he is an elite quarterback. I don't think he's particularly great, but yes, Waller brings up a very good point. I'm looking at the most sacks allowed by each team in the NFL in 2023. The Giants were the worst. They allowed 85 sacks a year ago. The next highest team was the Commanders and Panthers. They tied for second with 65. They allowed 20 more sacks than the next highest team. Basically, less than 1.5 sacks per game more than the next worst team. That's how bad their offensive line was at protecting the quarterback last year. And I get that sacks are also a quarterback stat, but it was with multiple quarterbacks. It was with Tyrod Taylor. It was with Tommy DeVito. It was with Daniel Jones. That offensive line was basura, Stacy. It was bad.
Now, we know from Hard Knocks preseason that the Giants front office does have genuine questions about Daniel Jones. I mean, they certainly considered taking a quarterback there, ended up going with Malik Neighbors and adding a weapon for Jones. Even though Jones, got his payday and is their quarterback for now and they didn't move on with another, in a weird way, it still feels like a prove-it year.
It does. It really does, because you bring in Drew Lock, who has starting experience in the NFL, is a very likable guy in every locker room that he's gone to. I would imagine that the Giants are also kind of eyeing next year's draft class in terms of quarterback play. I think they had some pretty big interest in this year's quarterback class, if I'm not mistaken. I think they, at pick, 6, they had Malik Neighbors. They ended up taking him, but I think there was a lot of people kind of wondering maybe J.J. McCarthy, maybe, I don't think they were ever linked to Michael Penix, but McCarthy seemed to be one of those guys that people were like, hey, if the Giants wanted to go quarterback, this would be that guy.
Well, speaking of Drew Lock and speaking of Giants quarterbacks, Lock was asked about a Hard Knock scene where Brian Daboll, head coach of the Giants, made it very clear he wanted Tyrod Taylor over him as the Giants backup, cut 11.
Being my 6th year, you want to keep the quarterback in the room the same, regardless of what's going on. That's what happened after my first year in Seattle. We wanted to keep that room the same, and we did it again. And as a coach, if I go into quarterback coaching and we had a great room, the guys got along, I'd try to keep it the same. Why wouldn't you? If that quarterback room functions well, everybody meshes well, that's a very good sign for your team. So I get it. I have no animosities or any feelings towards that.
A very mature, understanding answer from Drew, and a point I don't disagree with. But, Curtis, that being said, do you think we'll see Drew suit up for the Giants this year?
Absolutely, yes. I think Drew Lock will be... I think he'll be the Giants' starting quarterback by, Week 18. I really do. I don't think Daniel Jones has much to offer the Giants anymore. He does have the threat of the run game a little bit, but I think what we have seen from Daniel Jones over the last couple of years, I think his ceiling is what we saw in, 2022. 2023, a lost season for him. I don't see him bouncing back and eclipsing what he did in 22. I think the Giants eventually, I think ultimately they are going to end up with a new quarterback next year, but I think Drew Lock is their starting quarterback by the end of the season. I mean, that was part of the reason why Drew Lock went there, because they kind of said, hey, you might have the opportunity to start if things break your way. And then that was a whole thing because John Schneider had said on Wyman and Bob, that was why Drew Lock went there, and the Giants kind of had to, squash that rumor, even though it turned out to be true. But yeah, I think Drew Lock is the starter in New York by the end of the year.
There are few teams more unlucky with injuries than the formerly San Diego Chargers, now LA Chargers, and that has continued. Though maybe the silver lining is it's not serious. Justin Herbert has been diagnosed with an injury to the plantar fascia in his right foot. Doctors have recommended 2 weeks in a boot with a gradual return to action. The good news for LA fans, he's still expected to be ready for week 1.
The Chargers need Justin Herbert so bad because what is it, Easton Stick is their backup or something like that? Like they have no chance of being competitive without Justin Herbert this season, especially considering all the wide receiver talent they let go. Like, who are they going to have to move the ball through the air? Who are they going to have? Who's even the running? Is it like J.K. Dobbins, the running back?
I don't even know, man.
They are so different than what they were offensively. No Austin Eckler anymore. No Keenan Allen. No Mike Williams. They're night and day different.
They've got Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, and then some Isaiah Spiller. Wide receivers, wildly different than
Quentin
last
Johnson's
year.
there, but he was a bit of a bust last season.
Yeah, it's a weird. It was Harbaugh, that is the most tracked head coaching hire. He'll get the most attention of all new head coaches, understandably so. But there is a task at hand for him with the Chargers. He inherits a young franchise quarterback, the best situation you could possibly ask for, and then lots of question marks around him.
Yeah. The Chargers are just such a weird team. I mean, I wish Jim Harbaugh all the best, especially because he's not in the NFC West anymore. But I don't know how they're going to get it, because I think they're kind of in salary cap hell, if I'm not mistaken. Because they nearly let go of Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa this offseason. They both restructured their contracts, so they're back. But it kind of feels like the Chargers are kind of entering this giant rebuild, especially if Mack and Bosa are not back after this year. Stacey, it sounds like there's now a drum line in addition to the Blue Angels.
This is the most distracting show I've ever had in my entire life. So just so everyone knows what's happening, we got a DJ going on in one corner. We've got fans here, which is fine. The fans aren't actually distracting because that's a normal sound. We've got Seahawks dancers. We've got Blue Thunder, which is a drum line. And then we've got, on top of all of this, fighter jets, Blue Angels flying over camp. I can't.
It's an assault on the senses, is what it is.
I'm sitting here just looking around, very overstimulated.
What else will pop out? You had Blitz behind you at one point, too.
I had too much coffee this morning for this kind
You feel like you're hallucinating. You've had too much caffeine.
And I'm here by myself, so I'm just looking around going, someone help me. Oh, God. Okay, next story. Last one here. Let's talk about the Buccaneers, one of the more interesting. Actually, I lied. They're not one of the more interesting teams in the NFL to me. I just straight up lied about that. But I will say they're one of the teams I find hardest to predict because if they get last year's version of Baker and then some great weapons and great offensive line play, well, you're in a division you can absolutely win, assuming that the Falcons don't do anything, right? If Kirk Cousins doesn't actually take advantage of these weapons and they don't, with a new head coach suddenly improve and take off, then both South divisions are fairly easy, to win. But there is some good news for them. They made Tristan Wirfs the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history with a 5-year, $140 million extension. This is really more a story about what the Buccaneers can do this year offensively.
I saw Tristan Wirfs was ranked 85th on the NFL Top 100 list, and then somebody responded being like, I don't think there have been 85 players since Tristan Wirfs entered the NFL better than him. Like, we're talking 85 over the span of, like, I think 5 or 6 years now that he's been in the NFL. Yeah, he was a big reason why the Bucs were able to have so much success in the Super Bowl years with Tom Brady as we get our tower buzzed once again. Maverick, this is Goose. Do you have me?
This is a bald eagle in addition to a blue angel flying directly over camp. A bald eagle just flew the other way. Like, I feel like I'm in like a Where's Waldo situation where it's like crazy and there's 1,000,005 things in the photo and you're supposed to find Waldo, obviously, but it intentionally is just chaotic everywhere. There's chaos everywhere.
This is like broadcast combine. It's like, we're going to throw all these scenarios at you. You've got to make it through a 4-hour radio show with fighter jets going on above you, a drum line, a DJ, all of this.
A dog. Now there's a dog over here. What am I supposed to do? You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. We're going to get back to Mariners here coming up next.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Seattle Sports will be at Seahawks headquarters, taking you onto the field with the team. Interviews, analysis, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage as Gino and the Hawks get ready for the 2024 season.
Ball picked up. Witherspoon comes near side. He is in. Witherspoon with the interception for a touchdown.
Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Call today and ask about our trade-in sale. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
Play virtual golf on the best courses in the world and compete against your friends with Top Tracer. Mention KIRO in the golf shop and get 25% off 30-hour Top Tracer value cards valid through August. Enjoy Top Tracer at Jackson Park, Jefferson Park, and Inner Bay in Seattle.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why'd the kid jump off the boat?
I don't know. Why?
Peer pressure.
Oh. Good one, Ned.
Ned isn't funny, but Ned owns a boat, and you don't. So every time Ned tells another one of his unfunny boat puns, you're going to laugh loud and keep on laughing until you get a boat of your own.
A pier where you put a boat.
Yeah, I get it.
And when you do get a boat of your own, make sure you save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
If you're injured in the state of Washington, here's what matters. Who represents you matters. The experience of their staff matters. Their investigation team and track record of success matters. Davis Law Group was founded in Seattle and has been winning cases for more than 30 years. We know Washington State, we know our courts, and we know how to deliver the highest level of client satisfaction. And that's what matters.
4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide a lifeline to breast and gynecologic cancer patients in our community. Join us at Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle for an afternoon of hope and inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th at nwhopeandhealing.org. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
High five! Up top! Heck yeah!
Dave's company just got the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business.
Yeah, 5 years!
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
High five for gig speed.
5 years of advanced security.
Security win.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Our rate ain't changing.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
There it is.
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread.
Woohoo!
Now he's got savings.
I'm so excited.
Yep. Dave's feeling it, but it's only for a limited time, so don't wait. Switch today and ask how to get the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
Woo! Ends 8/21/24. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You know, Curtis, I'll give credit to some of the fans out here answering trivia questions right now, which is what they're doing at camp. Some of these questions are not easy. Like, they're questions that you hear, then you hear the answer to them, and you go, oh, well, duh. But when you're immediately asked, for instance, this one was, what was the very first draft pick in Seahawks history?
It's not an easy one.
Huh?
It's not an easy one. It had me stumped.
And if you're like, well, I remember it was blank, it's because you remember.
Right. It's because you were there.
Some of these people answering are kids, and I'm like, oh God, they have no idea. But yeah, some of these are pretty tough. I gotta give them credit.
76. Some of their parents weren't even born yet.
That's what I'm saying. If you're like a little kid, your parents may be born in the 80s. 90s. All right. Someone said, honestly, listening to you guys talk about the drama going on in Seahawks training camp today is much better than having to hear about the Mariners. Here's what I'll tell you. I promise we will not rehash a Mariners loss. We will not rehash anything bad about the Mariners. I actually have something kind of positive about the Mariners. It's cut number 17. This is what Russ Dorsey of MLB Network had to say about the team's trade deadline.
The Mariners. Right? I think you had Jerry DiPoto say, we have the 3rd worst offense in baseball. And I like that they gambled on guys who had a upward trajectory. Randy Arozarena had not been having a great year in Tampa. Over his last 30 games, OPS over 850. Over his last 15, OPS over 1,000. Justin Turner, a guy that's been a winner, been in winning organizations, last 30 games, slash line 320, 420, 430. And for a team that's gotten chased down the last couple of years and a young team that is looking to learn how to win, you need a guy like that in the room. And I really like what they did with their bullpen. Yimi Garcia having a good year in Toronto. JT Chargois has been a guy that most people don't know. Really solid year this year. Adam with Munoz. I like what they did.
There's a Go Seahawks chant.
Yeah, of course.
It literally started the second I came back. I'm so sorry. Curtis, this is obviously great to hear. And while I can be critical about the Mariners and their offseason moves, not only do I think that they had a really solid trade deadline, but I think that they needed this trade deadline because they're now facing some serious questions and tests of their depth.
Yes, and I think of all the teams in the American League West that did stuff over the trade deadline, I think the Mariners had the best of any team in the AL West. I think they improved the most for sure. I don't think Houston's acquisition of Yusei Kikuchi is going to be what puts them over the top.
No.
I don't even know if Yusei Kikuchi makes Houston's potential playoff rotation if that's where they end up.
What Houston needs is Kyle Tucker and Justin Verlander
Right.
to get back and look amazing. Like, that's their best bet to keep this thing going, and for Ronel Blanco to, like, stay healthy and not hit a wall.
Yeah, and I did see that the Astros just transitioned Kyle Tucker to the 60-day DL, which is retroactive to when he was originally placed on, but I believe he just kind of it opens up a roster spot for them.
Yeah.
But also it kind of speaks to the severity of his injury in that he needed the 60 days rather than just the 10-day IL. But I think the Mariners' acquisitions of Randy Arozarena, which I think was the best bat that was moved over the trade deadline, the Mariners went out and got it. Like, there weren't any other bats that were available, at least at a price point that the Mariners were willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Mariners, yes, you can say that they had a successful trade deadline. Did that do enough to dig them out of what their offense has been like over the season's first, 4 months? I don't think it has. I don't think we can definitively say, yes, the Mariners are a better offensive team right now than what they were pre-trade deadline. You've got to see more than, I think, 6 games, because that's how long Arozarena has been in the Mariners lineup. Now, they're 4-2 in those 6 games, so that's good, but we saw yesterday a lot of the same struggles that the Mariners offense has had this season rear its ugly head in that series finale to Boston. So I like Arozarena. I like Turner, what they bring to the table. I'm honestly not anticipating anything out of JT Chargois. If he can give you some good innings out of the bullpen, sure. But it's ultimately going to come down to how Arozarena and how Justin Turner play down the stretch for this Mariners team to make it back to the postseason.
Well, and you need someone to get hot. Like, right now it's Jorge Polanco, who's been absolutely on fire. Previously it was Victor Robles, who's obviously taking some time out with an injury, and you know, he won't be out there as often, but he's hitting over 300. Like, you need someone to catch on. Like, you need someone to play above what you'd expect, and it needs to be at the right time. Ideally, I'd love Jorge Polanco and Robles and then Julio to come back and everyone to be hot as you cruise through September and get into the playoffs, but you may need that from them right now without some of your starters.
Exactly, and you're going to have to get above average production from guys like, I mean, we talked about Mitch Garver off the top. You're going to need to have something from him over the course of the final 2 months of the season, more than what he has given you. Other guys in that lineup who I'm looking at, Luke Raley is somebody that has cooled off tremendously, and he's been forced to play every day because of the injuries to Julio. So get him going. I don't know. Well, how about Tyler Locklear? I mean, you gave up something to get Justin Turner, but Tyler Locklear, did he get option? I think he may. He did get option. But hey, if he can be a bat that you bring up in September or something like that, a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark at a moment's notice, maybe kind of like a right-handed Mike Ford in a way, what we saw last year from him. Maybe that's somebody who could see get going in the season's final months. But yeah, right now you're going to need more production out of the guys that you have really been wanting it from. I can't tell you enough, Stacey, how encouraged I am by this run that Jorge Polanco is on, because this guy was brought here to do exactly what he's doing right now, and the Mariners are getting that, and the Mariners are playing winning baseball in the last week. I would love to see this continue post August 1st. I would love to see him continue to just absolutely be a force in that 3 spot in the lineup, especially when Julio comes back and especially when JP is back. Like, you're talking about a guy that is somebody that you got to take notice of if you're an opposing pitcher.
Yeah. All right, we are going to hit a quick break here, but sticking with the Mariners, MLB Network and Root Sports, Ryan Rowland-Smith joining us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Give everybody a few observations from what you've seen from a couple of padded practices. And you see Mike McDonald, he's out there saying, okay, this is a situation where we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and just the little details. And that's the thing I think that stood out to me, is that he's so detail-oriented. All the communication that's going on out there is really a good thing. And I'll bet you if you ask McDonald, he'd say, man, I'm way behind. I got so much to do. I'll bet you he's ahead of where most coaches are, just because his attention to detail.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
To celebrate Team USA going for gold, Xfinity is offering a gold medal deal now through August 11th. Get their best offer yet with 300 megabit Xfinity internet and one line of unlimited mobile for just $35 a month for a year and a free 5G phone. And the action doesn't stop there. Save on some of the biggest names in streaming by adding the new Xfinity Stream Saver with Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $15 a month. And don't wait, because when the Olympic Games end, so does this deal. So go to Xfinity.com/Team USA, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a store today. Get the fastest connection to Paris, only with Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to internet and mobile. Stream Saver price subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Free 5G phone requires eligible trade-in. Select models only, but make the call and don't wait to 1-800-XFINITY. Hey, Brock Hewitt here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Well, the season's there. Changing. The guys are playing the sports outdoors. I know many are starting to maybe pull the lawnmower out and get back to the landscape and the outdoor work. I'm going to guess, Shannon, at IRG, maybe a little busier season?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. You know, we know when the seasons change, particularly when it gets warmer, people are in their houses pretty much all winter long with our cold weather, rain, et cetera, particularly here in the Puget Sound. And everybody's excited. They want to rush out and get going with their activity. I'm telling you, as a physical therapist for 35 years here, you need to prepare your body. So take time to warm up, increase some flexibility, do some stretches, because if you prepare your body and prevent injuries, those activities outside, particularly that exciting thing, mowing your lawn, is going to be healthier and it's going to be a lot more fun.
And you feel better. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. It's all waiting for you right there at irgpt.com.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. we can help.
As a Washington State business, you can take advantage of Labor and Industries' no-cost safety and health consultation program. We can help you build out your accident prevention plan, meet safety obligations, and reduce your risk of costly safety citations. You can have us look at a single item or your entire facility. And consultations are confidential, which means you will not be cited if a hazard is found. You'll just need to fix it, and we can help you with that as well. There isn't a safety question we can't help with. To learn more, visit lni.wa.gov/consultations.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners have an off day today, so stay tuned for Extra Innings hosted by Curtis Rogers coming up at 7 p.m. where you can still get your Mariners fix. They're back tomorrow for a series against the Phillies. Big test here for one of the league's best starting rotations against one of the league's best offenses. Simone Biles is back on top. She won gold in the women's gymnastics individual all-around finals. Fellow USA Gymnastics star Suni Lee took bronze.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Talking Mariners with Root Sports and MLB Network's Ryan Rowland-Smith on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Ryan, how's it going?
Fantastic. How you guys doing?
We're great. I mean, excited to see an upcoming series here against the Phillies. It feels like this is one in which we'll see Seattle's arms really tested. What can you tell us about Philadelphia's offense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, offensively, they're really good. And I can say this is the best team in baseball. However, they have been scuffling a little bit, but there's just too much in that lineup for that to be a factor, to be honest with you, this weekend. So, you know, back to your point in regards to the Mariners' arms being tested, I think this is the big outing too, you know, for Brian Wu. It's been an interesting year for him. He's had so much success when you push aside some of the psychological barriers he's had to kind of get through and some of the injury barriers. What I mean by that is, look, I get it. He's had a hamstring issue. Felt the hamstring a little bit his last time out. They've had to play it really safe with him. And so when you look at Brian Wu, you look at it, he's on a team that you want to see in October, and he's going to be a big factor of that and what they end up doing with him once he get 2 months into this season. But this is a big test for him this weekend to see how he looks on the weekend with this stretch coming up, to see if he can just get through. And can we get him to 90 to 100 pitches and feel normal 6-7 innings? So I'm looking forward to seeing him his next outing.
Ryan, the Mariners in past seasons have been great in one-run games, and they got off to a phenomenal start in one-run games this season, but they've dropped 7 in a row after yesterday's 3-2 loss. What do you make of that losing streak in one-run games? Is there any one thing you attributed that to?
Well, yeah, go back. This has been interesting. I mean, pre-trade deadline. And by the way, guys, I remember talking to you last Thursday, and it was bleak. Hitting the road, and I was looking at the lineup going, who are these guys? All the injuries and what have you. And then they went nuts at the trade deadline. So I think with the one-run games, you mentioned the years prior, I really don't think you can put up this team in any sense of comparison to 2023, 2022, or any year, because we talked about the last couple of years, right? There's been luck involved, different dynamic. This year, the first half of the season, just coming away with that big hit has just not been there. However, offensively, they are night and day different just after the last time I spoke to you guys. I know they lost yesterday. Scott Servais said they couldn't come up with that big hit. Regardless of that, if it's 7-6, 10-9, 1-2, whatever the score is, I just think offensively this is a completely different team. So I think in regards to looking at this last stretch, I don't think there's a big enough sample size for the current group. And when I say the current group, calling everyone healthy. I know Robles is a little bit banged up at the moment with the hip. I know there's a couple other issues going on. Obviously, Julio Rodriguez, not quite sure when we're going to see him back. But I just think this is a completely different team. So in regards to how they look in one-run games and how they stack up offensively and how, some of the woes we saw in the first half, and look, pitching has to be better in those close games because they're not going to score a whole lot of runs. I think they are going to score a bunch of runs in the month of August. So I think you look at this and say, all right, if you get to the end of August and it's that situation where you can't come up with that big hit, then you have some concerns. But I just don't see that happening, especially in these close games in the month of August. I think once they're back to being 100% healthy, full strength, I think this is going to be a completely different offense. I am just so over the moon, guys, with what they did over this trade deadline with the pieces they got. Man, I don't think you could have done any better than what they did.
I absolutely agree. Obviously, losing that series to the Red Sox was a bummer. Like, it was a bummer, losing in extras. Yeah. But overall, I had a great time watching both series and felt excited watching the team. I wanted to focus on Victor Robles. You mentioned his injury. Obviously, nothing's been done there in terms of a roster move. He's not on the IL. But if he has to miss a couple of days, what kind of flexibility does Scott have in the outfield, and what are some center field options?
Yeah, he's seen a couple different options, especially center field. I think, look, I'm not saying you can hide guys away on the corners, but center field's a different animal. It really is. And so, with Robles, first of all, he's been just such a spark plug at the top lineup, energy-wise, in the box, the presence he brings. And I'm not saying he's replacing Julio Rodriguez by any stretch, but you think about that offensively, and then you mentioned defensively too. It is very difficult to replicate the range and what you do in center field, and then all of a sudden you lose Robles. It's going to be tough. So I think you have to just kind of, basically, cycle through who you got. I know they had a couple different guys cycle through even yesterday's game when you had to start making some different moves and pinch running and so on and so forth. I just think, and I say all that, and with the defense aspect of it, which is important, you have to really focus on who is hitting, who can you fill that lineup with. And if that means sacrificing a little bit at center field, e.g., if you have a situation where you're like, all right, Cade Marlowe has some wheels, he's got some range, but you know what? We're going to prioritize offense with someone else over that center field. I think you kind of have to do that. Hopefully Robles, hopefully it's just something where he comes in at 2 o'clock, tomorrow afternoon and says, hey, look, hit feels great, guys. Let's get back out there and play center field because you don't want to lose him that much. So defensively, they're going to take a little bit of a hit, but I think you need to prioritize who's swinging it. Look at Dylan Moore. He's been way better on the road. He's had a big series in Boston. And then you have, Luke Raley, who, I know he's been kind of streaky, but you have to prioritize your offense at this point because you are starting to get in a nice little rhythm offensively, even if it takes a little bit of a hit defensively in center field.
Ryan, what's it like as a young player when your team acquires guys that already have a reputation throughout the league? And Randy Arozarena and Justin Turner are two guys that are known in all 30 markets in Major League Baseball, and this Mariners team went out and acquired both of them at the trade deadline. Now, Turner's obviously a lot closer to the end of his career than Arozarena is, but those two guys, their reputation kind of precedes themselves. So what's it like for the guys currently in that clubhouse when your team swings a trade for somebody or somebodies of that caliber?
Well, first of all, I want to make this clear. You don't want to be Tyler Locklear when you hear the news over Twitter that someone's getting traded because guess what?
God.
See you later, you're going back to AAA. So I want to make that clear because there's been some tense moments as a young player going, oh, man, there's no way I'm sticking around in 2 days when the trade deadline rolls around. But I've been able to dodge that bullet a little bit. But in regards to your question, I assume you're talking about the presence they have and kind of that leadership and role model. Like, it is so important when you have a young, impressionable player, year one, year two, trying to crack through, trying to be in a situation where, all right, I'll call Cade Marlowe, for example, right? A guy like that who's got some talent, comes up, trying to find his footing. All he cares about right now, Cade, is being a presence, being someone that fills up a spot on a 26-man roster. What I mean by that, don't be a fill-in. In other words, be someone that when you go to opening day in 2025, Cade's one of your guys, right? And so that's really important. So if you're in a situation where you're a young player and Justin Turner and you can vibe with him and you can have a good relationship with him and you can really pick his brain on things, you have to take advantage of that because you want players like that in the locker room. It is so important. On the flip side, when you have guys that aren't that way, and you have a young, impressionable player, and they sit there and go, oh, this is how big league is, this is how veterans, this is how guys who've been to the World Series twice act in a negative way, it can be even more of a detriment because all of a sudden they start learning some bad habits. Now, I will say this. I look at this, I'll put myself in the shoes of like a young infielder or a young player, for example. I'll call me Cade Marlowe. Justin Turner rolls into town. I want to, talk to him about hitting, want to get in the cage with him. I do respect the fact that the guy has just been traded with a 3-week-old baby at home. And so you kind of have that feel like, you know what, I want to let this guy out of, I don't want to wear him out on the road if he's trying to deal with stuff back home or whatever. So there is a little bit of that. Now, I think with Randy Rosarina, man, I think it doesn't matter who you are, pitching, hitting, whatever. Watch how these guys interact, man. They're so excited to be on a new team, and they're so excited to be somewhere where they're wanted. And you can really feed off that energy. Then when you get to October and you've never been there or you've played 1 or 2 games and you're 3 years in the big leagues, you lean on those guys so heavily. How do they act at 3 o'clock in the afternoon come playoff time or, last 2 weeks of September, and you head over onto some road trip where the place is packed and these are must-win games. How do they act? Man, you can feed off that energy so much. And I always say this. I say this to kids. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I say that all the time. Who you surround yourself with is how you're going to end up in the future, what kind of personality you're going to create, especially in a Major League clubhouse. So it's really, really important that the front office brings in guys like Justin Turner, that's for sure.
Hey, kind of looking around the rest of the AL West and the rest of teams at the trade deadline, we were talking with Ryan Divish a while ago, and he was saying, I know people are feeling disheartened after that series against the Astros, but the Astros are deeply flawed. Ryan, I know that we tend to hyper-focus on all the problems with our team, right? Everyone in every city can say that. But this is still a very intriguing AL West race and at large an American League race. I mean, there are other teams whose fans feel they didn't do enough. So the Mariners have an opportunity to be really competitive if they could just barely improve offensively, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I was super happy, but I was just like, I was kind of surprised. The Astros did nothing. I'll be honest with you. I know it sounds bad. Look, I wasn't a huge fan of Yusei Kikuchi when he was pitching here. Psychologically, I just didn't think he had it in him. He gets on these roles. We've seen this his last 7 or 8 starts, whatever it is. He has struggled, and he gets on these roles where he's so talented. He's got really good stuff, but for whatever reason, he gets in his head. I see the Houston Astros all of a sudden. Their pitching has gotten better. They've matched the Mariners in the last couple of weeks, gotten back in the AL West because of their pitching. But they did nothing, guys. They went and got Yusei Kikuchi. That was just a desperate move. I'm like, man, okay. So that's all they got. I get it. Kyle Tucker's coming back. They're nursing a couple little niggly injuries I'm noticing. And then on top of that, and then as well, the Texas Rangers went and got Andrew Chasen. That was it. I mean, thanks, guys. You did absolutely zero. They could have gone out, and, especially the Houston Astros, they got some really good young prospects. They could have gone out and said, hey, we're the Houston Astros. We have to go get 3 pieces here and absolutely dominate the AL West. Now, to your point, in the American League itself, I hate to say this, but your road to the playoffs is going to go through the AL West. You don't want to have to lean into that wild card race. It is too tough. And I'm talking about, you don't just have the AL East, I'm talking about the Central as well. With the Royals, what they're doing, the Twins even though the Twins didn't do a whole lot. But I just think you really need to just get, and of course you are, you're trying to win the AL West, don't get me wrong. You just don't want to see a situation where you're hanging out there with the Houston Astros, you turn around 2 weeks to go in the rest of the season, you're like, oh man, we're 4 games out of the wild card, because that's how it's going to be. As for the American League in regards to trades, I'm telling you, the Mariners absolutely nailed the trade deadline compared to the other teams in the American League. That is for sure.
Ryan, on my monitor, I'm watching the women's 4x200 relay final, and the Aussies are currently up with about 150 meters left to go. You're the only person I know that owns an Olympic medal. You have a silver medal from the 2004 Olympics. So I want to know, just what was that experience like? Because I've never met anybody that stayed at the Olympic Village. I've never met anybody that's gone through the closing ceremonies. Were you there for the opening ceremonies too, or just the closing ones?
I was there for the opening. I missed the closing.
You
I
were there?
shouted.
Okay.
Remind me of a story before I finish up. I know you guys are going to go in a second, but I'll get to the closing ceremony in a minute. I'm going to throw someone under the bus he used to be with the Seattle Mariners. He's no longer with them, but I do see him around town. I'll get to that in a minute. But in regards to the whole experience, top 5 memories in my athletic career, that is for sure. I got a chance to, for so many different, I don't know where to begin. I don't know how much time you got, but being in that village, just walking down the streets in Athens, when I say the streets, I mean inside the village, and you're like, oh, hold on, there's Maurice Green over there. Oh, whoops, there's Yao Ming cruising. It's nuts. I'm not joking. And you go to that cafeteria. We used to have this little cafeteria near our dorm, and then we used to just walk, 10 minutes to the main one because your head's on a swivel. You're just seeing all these athletes. You're like, oh damn, I just saw that dude dominate the whatever it is, 3 days ago. Oh, that dude won the gold in archery. We saw him. It's wild, man. It's crazy. We had a ceremony. We're in the gymnastics arena, waiting to walk out into the stadium. I love what they did this year with the boats. But we're taking everyone's just taking photos with random people. You've got these little gymnasts from Europe taking photos on Yao Ming's shoulders and Carlos Boozer's shoulders, and there's Jenny Finch hanging out with. It was crazy. It was wild. There's LeBron James not taking a photo with anyone. Him and Allen Iverson were very disappointing at the 2004 Olympics. Let me tell you, I know they've turned it around. But back to the closing ceremony, guys. I was walking on air. You got to remember, I come from a country where baseball no one cares about, and all of a sudden we come out win a medal. All of a sudden we're the cool kids at school for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? It was like we had some attention. And I'm like, oh, man, I want to go back to Australia and cruise around with my silver medal because there's all these parties and stuff going on. So I write this giant email pleading. You would have thought AI perfectly wrote this email. It was so well crafted to Greg Hunter, who was the farm director at the time. I said, Greg, listen, we've got a week left in the regular A-ball season. I've got an Olympic silver medal. Can I stick around for the closing ceremony, please? And then can I somehow go home early? I wrote this giant. I think I still have it home. The way it's written, I would have won. I would have won a Nobel Prize coming out of Harvard University. I wrote this thesis so well. I get one line back. No, be on that plane in 2 days. So I was like, no, Greg Hunter, come on, dude. And so I missed the closing ceremony. All these other guys got to go back to Australia and just live it up, wearing a medal, being the cool kids for 15 minutes in a sport that no one cares about. But if you have an Olympic medal, you're kind of cool for a second. And so I missed it, dude. But the rest of the experience was absolutely amazing. I'll never forget it.
All right, he is Ryan Rowland-Smith with some great stories and excellent insight into this Mariners team. Ryan, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ryan.
See you guys. See ya.
I want to hear Ryan just critique different people over and over. LeBron James is disappointing.
Yeah. What did he ever amount to?
It was a great story, though. Just writing this entire letter, like a book of please, I beg of you. And then
it's just a ball. I don't need to be there.
All right. Thank you again to Ryan Rowland-Smith for joining us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Right now, let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First Down, Stacy, training camp is amazing and frustrating for the same reason. So tell us what you mean by that.
It's a first look. What's great about a first look is that you've been craving it, right? We go through summer. Baseball parks in July are amazing. Watching your favorite sports in the spring, also fun. March Madness, who doesn't love it? But I don't know about you guys. Football was my first love. And so once you start hitting training camp, you can just sense that football is right around the corner. You hear about the first preseason game. You think about week 1 and it starts to come back and you can just sense that it's back in the air. However, the flip side of that is that it's a first look, which means everything is surface level. Whenever we see questions about what do you think this team's going to look like, the answer is genuinely we have no idea. I think DK looks phenomenal. I think JSN looks phenomenal. I think Gino looks sharp. I think, guys look quick and fast and great, which is exactly what they're supposed to be. What we're really wondering is what this offensive line is going to look like and what the defensive line is going to look like, in particular against the run. We're not going to know until week 1. So we have a ways to go until we see more than a surface level look. Even the preseason isn't going to offer us the insight that we're really going to want there. And so while we're we're building up tons of quick takeaways, we're going to have this lingering question that isn't going to be answered until week 1 and beyond.
Second down. Stacey, one NFL insider is hearing the Brandon Aiyuk 49ers drama could come to an end soon. What do we need to know about that?
Sports Illustrated reporter Grant Cohn is convinced that not only this week, but perhaps even today is going to be the day that Brandon Aiyuk gets his contract extension. Why? Okay, so take this with a grain of salt. This is just Grant's observations, but he saw Brandon Aiyuk exchange some hugs with head coach Kyle Shanahan and GM John Lynch at practice the other day. You might be thinking, well, who cares? But I don't know. For Grant, he felt like that was enough. Plus, today being an off day for San Francisco to make him wonder whether or not an extension is in the works. We'll see what ends up happening there. Maybe San Francisco decides that they can't go without Brandon Aiyuk.
Third down. So, Stacey, what is Brandon Aiyuk asking for, and is he worth it?
So, what the 49ers have reportedly offered is close to about $26-27 million. What Brandon Aiyuk is probably looking for, according to multiple reports, including Cohn, is going to be a little closer to $30 million. Now, $30 million per is what the top wide receivers are getting. So that's what the market is dictating and what the market is offering. Now, if you look at those top receivers getting 30 or more million per year, you've got A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Justin Jefferson. Brandon Aiyuk among those ranks last in overall receiving yards, overall touchdowns, as well as receptions in the 3-year span since 2021, which is when you can include all of their stats. Obviously, some of these guys pretty young. So he might be looking for Amon-Ra St. Brown's 4-year, $120 million deal, but Amon-Ra during that time has technically seen a little bit more production. Now, if you're Brandon Aiyuk, you're going, okay, so maybe Tyreek Hill has done more than me, and maybe Justin Jefferson has done more than me. It doesn't mean that I'm not the very best wide receiver on a Super Bowl favorite team. And so that's the conversation that I would imagine his agent is having with 49ers ownership, which is this is the cost of a top wide receiver. You have a top wide receiver. You got a guy who can get you 1,300 yards. You've got a guy who can take the top off the offense and really open things up. So if you look at just the numbers, I think you can find a better case for obviously players like Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson, but that's not how this works. Usually it's, a top guy or the newest guy just gets the highest deal. So do I anticipate he's going to surpass Justin Jefferson's contract? Absolutely not. But I do wonder if he might inch close to that $30 million he's looking for.
Fourth down. All right, Stacey, what can you tell us about camp today?
It's hot. And it's loud as hell. The Blue Angels, are flying over. I just set the scene for you guys. It is chaotic out here, so it's a little less chaotic than it was. But we got Andy Dooley, who does DJ stuff and announcements for the team. Hyping up the crowd, doing trivia, some really fun stuff happening there. We've got fans all over the place. Curtis, there is axe throwing here. I don't know how safe that is. I don't know how happy, John Schneider and co are going to be about axe. Well, they're in a cage, so they're throwing the axes in a cage, but you really never know. I don't trust an axe, that's for sure. There are finally Blue Angels flying overhead, and they are getting pretty close, and it is getting pretty loud. Let me tell you what, Seafair meets Seahawks is just pure chaos out here.
Did Mike McDonald get warned about the Blue Angels? Like, this is his first training camp. I imagine he's probably caught off guard by them.
I would imagine he has been told about it. I mean, if you didn't know that they were coming, you heard it this morning. They flew right over the facility, and it was the loudest. Like, my ear hurt after. It was so loud.
Yeah, I actually could hear them over here in Eastlake a little bit, and I'm in a soundproof room. That's how loud they were.
It is very loud. They're still flying over. They haven't gotten quite as close, but I would imagine that they, maybe not do a show, but fly over a little bit for fans and players to see. So it is a really cool environment. There's a little bit of a breeze, so not complaining about the heat. I love training camp. I love being out here. It's so fun. It is very chaotic. There's a lot going on, but man, it's a great time, and we'll continue to give you guys updates. Hype Train coming your way next.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Seattle Sports will be at Seahawks headquarters, taking you onto the field with the team. Interviews, analysis, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage as Gino and the Hawks get ready for the 2024 season.
Ball picked up. Witherspoon comes near side. He is in. Witherspoon
with the interception for a touchdown.
Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Build your deck with PAR. Get everyday low prices on Trex and TimberTech composite decking. And get $100 off TimberTech, Trex, and AZEK railing and accessories with qualifying purchase. Visit par.com for details, but hurry, offer ends soon. What are you building?
Paid political announcement. A Bob for Bob update. Did you know AG Bob Ferguson failed at defending the $30 card tabs initiative passed by 53% of Washington voters? Beware of Bob dropping the ball when Washington wants less taxes via initiative. Do you want a governor who doesn't succeed when more than 50% of the state votes for lower cost of living? Well, then we have the candidate for you. Vote Bob, because $30 car tabs don't matter. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors: Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
The 2024 Seahawks season is almost here. Get fitted for game days with jerseys, caps, and tees, including the 2024 training camp collection. Visit the Seahawks Pro Shop at the Landing in Renton and Lumen Field, or online at Seahawks.com/pro shop.
12s. Seahawks training camp powered by Boeing is on the horizon. Starting July 24th, join us lakeside at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center for the first of 9 practices. Get an up-close look at the new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald, and the next gen of Seahawks players as they take the field to prepare for the upcoming season. Summer in Seattle and Seahawks football, what's better than that? Register now at Seahawks.com/training camp. That's Seahawks.com/training camp.
To celebrate Team USA going for gold, Xfinity is offering a gold medal deal now through August 11th. Get their best offer yet with 300 megabit Xfinity internet and 1 line of unlimited mobile for just $35 a month for a year and a free 5G phone. And the action doesn't stop there. Save on some of the biggest names in streaming by adding the new Xfinity Stream Saver with Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $15 a month. And don't wait, because when the Olympic Games end, so does this deal. So go to Xfinity.com/Team USA, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a store today. Get the fastest connection to Paris, only with Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to internet and mobile. Stream Saver price subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Free 5G phone requires eligible trade-in. Select models only, but make the call and don't wait to 1-800-XFINITY.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
This is Stacey Rost. Is that leaky faucet driving you crazy? Don't wait until it becomes a flood. Call Ben's Plumbing, Heating, and Air. At Ben's Plumbing, they pride themselves on 5-star service, where your satisfaction is their priority. Whether it's a stubborn clog or a complete plumbing overhaul, their team of dedicated professionals is here to help with no commission sales tactics. Just honest, reliable service you can count on. Call today at 206-789-5353 or visit Ben's.plumbing. That's Ben's.plumbing.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers who chunk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine and then some. That's how it feels to have quantum fiber internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Hey golf fans, Dan Wilson here, inviting you to join me at the 2024 Boeing Classic. See Masters champions and Golf Hall of Famers live at the club at Snoqualmie Ridge from August 9th through 11th. It's your chance to experience the only PGA Tour champion stop in the Pacific Northwest and see golf's biggest stars. Grab the whole family and come on down to join the action. It's a golf experience you won't want to miss. The Boeing Classic at the club at Snoqualmie Ridge from August 9th through the 11th. For $20 tickets, visit BoeingClassic.com.
Hi, I'm Stuart Holmes, Elections Director for Washington State. Washington's primary is August 6th. Visit sos.wa.gov/elections to learn more about voting and how your state and local election workers keep our elections secure. Return your ballot to an official drop box by 8 p.m. August 6th, or if you mail your ballot, make sure it's postmarked by Election Day.
Sponsored by the Office of Secretary of State and aired in cooperation with the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If you're watching the video stream, Arlene, who works with our company, just told me the funniest thing, Curtis, which is that I look like a Peloton instructor because I'm sitting up front in front of the camera with my iPad in front of me, and then behind me were a couple players that were on like stationary bikes and ellipticals and stuff, and it looks like I'm sitting here like, come on guys, push.
Are you
we can
ready?
do this. Are you working?
I don't see sweat.
Exactly.
You're not working hard enough.
I would be an insane Peloton instructor.
Those
God.
People, I think, have way too much caffeine.
Well, you kind of need it. Like if you take a workout class and someone's like, all right, guys.
All right, just
30 seconds here, I guess.
Go.
If you can't, that's fine. You kind of need someone a little crazy to be able to really push through a workout class. All right, get your questions in for what I need to know. Send it to the Mac and Jack's text line. Any question you have, 866-979-3776. Oh, no, they're closing the window now. Right now, let's head to the station for Hype Train. After winning her record 13th medal today, swimmer Katie Ledecky is the greatest female Olympian ever. Curtis, are you boarding?
Ooh, I want to board, but I just saw this stat come across my timeline, and it's very relevant because Simone Biles won the women's all-around competition today. Spoiler alert, if you're saving that for later tonight on NBC. Hate to break it to you, but she already won.
I'm sure you got a push notification from ESPN.
Exactly. So
a sports fan.
Simone Biles has not lost an all-around competition since 2013. 11 years of all-around competition she has participated in, has not lost in that time frame. The movie Frozen had not released yet. That was how long ago Simone Biles, last time she has not won an all-around competition. So I am going to not board this train. I think Simone Biles is the greatest female Olympian ever because of that one stat.
God, I can't help but board this one as well. And the thing is, Katie Ledecky has her beat in terms of gold medals. And you talked about Katie Ledecky setting something like the top 20 times are all held by her. And that is an unreal level of dominance. But I think Simone Biles also has this like star factor that is just so hard to capture as an athlete. And it's not that Katie doesn't also have that, but Simone has had a level of dominance in a sport where there's been such serious competition that I can't help but give her the nod. Am I influenced by recency bias with her having just won? Absolutely, 1,000%. With me being the biggest fan? Absolutely, of course. But I'm going to have to say it's Simone as well. Next Hype Train. Mariners got a tough one here after coming off of a series loss against Boston, where, granted, the offense did perform a little bit better than they had been prior. They now face off against a very tough opponent, the Philadelphia Phillies. Curtis, the Hype Train is pretty simple. The Mariners win their series against the Phillies.
So the Phillies haven't won consecutive games since before the All-Star break, and as we pointed out earlier,
Garbage franchise.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're garbage. How do they even feel the team at this point?
Honestly, trade everyone.
I think so. Specifically Bryce Harper. Send him to the Mariners.
That might be the best.
Yeah,
way to
I think so. Pick him up on waivers if you're the Mariners. I would, maybe if the Phillies can take on a portion of that contract, you make it work. But no, this Phillies team, I think you could pick them apart this weekend. Take at least 2 from them. Their offense is slumping. You're not facing their best starting pitching. You do face Zach Wheeler in the finale, but before that, you miss a lot of their great starting pitchers. So I am boarding this train.
Wow.
I think the Mariners keep up the somewhat good vibes from their road trip. I know the Boston series didn't go their way, but 4-2 overall. I think they build on that and take 2 of 3 from the Phillies this weekend. Stacey?
I'm going to board as well. Now, do I have quite as much faith? No, because I haven't been following the Phillies of late, and so I still see them, the Phillies, as pre-All-Star break, just absolutely dominant, best record in baseball, and just cleaning up. They're a tough offense. I know that those bats have cooled a little bit, but so have Seattle's arms, man. They've been, struggling a little bit. Now, struggling is all relative. They've been struggling for them. That still means solid outings outside of, obviously, Logan having kind of a weird one. But I really like Seattle's arms a lot. I think Seattle genuinely has the deepest and one of the best, if not the best, rotations in all of baseball, and you're catching Philly at the right time. And you're home, correct? They're at T-Mobile?
Correct.
So I am very curious to see 2 things. 1, how these starters look against the Phillies. And 2, how the new additions look at T-Mobile Park, another question that we had about whether that offense would translate. So I'm boarding this train, and then I'm remaining kind of cautious with it. Next hype train. Report from Sports Illustrated's Grant Cohn, who saw some pretty warm pleasantries and exchanges between Brandon Aiyuk and head coach Kyle Shanahan and 49ers GM John Lynch at training camp today. He said, look, that combined with the 49ers off day today makes me wonder if they could get some work done on a contract extension. Reportedly, there's still a couple casual $1 million off, with Brandon Aiyuk wanting closer to $30 million per, something like Amon-Ra St. Brown's deal from the Lions, and the 49ers, who have to be very wary of other extensions they're going to need to do, offering him a little closer to 26. However, Aiyuk gets his deal done before the start of the season.
I am boarding this train because you don't usually hug somebody before bad news unless it's like really, really bad news. And then you're kind of like, hey, brace for this. I think a deal gets done between the two sides. Brandon Aiyuk is the future of the wide receiver spot in San Francisco. I think even more so than Deebo. So I think Brandon Aiyuk gets that deal done. Unfortunately, I mean, I hate to see it because they're in the Seahawks division. You play them twice a year, but I think they are able to make it work. The real question is, how are they going to handle Brock Purdy's contract situation? We saw Bill Barnwell throw out the $65 million number, which I think is ridiculous to pay just about any quarterback in the NFL, let alone
just any person.
Yeah, I mean, that's a number higher than like most NBA salaries, and NBA salaries have gotten out of control. Sonics fans, brace yourself when we start talking about NBA contracts when they come back. Your eyes will not believe what you're reading. But
newer NBA fans are not going to be ready for this.
They're not, because you're getting
Let's
guys,
talk about a mega extension.
You're getting guys signing for like 4 years, $300 million or something stupid like that. But yeah, I think Brandon Aiyuk gets this deal done, so we're boarding that train.
I think he gets it done well as well. If nothing else, because deals don't typically get done during the season. I mean, we've seen it once in a while, but typically that's when teams like to close up shop and focus on the year. And if you are not signed by then you're not signed. And I think Brandon Aiyuk is very willing to hold out. And here's another thing that the 49ers know. If they sign Brandon Aiyuk and have him on that team, they are a better team. I don't know how substantially worse they are without him. They have so many offensive weapons, maybe the most in all of football. But they know that they could use their full, kind of toolkit while they're in a Super Bowl window. And I think that they are one of the teams facing the most pressure to get this done now before they have to pay Brock, before they have to pay some other players, and while so many other NFC teams have young stars. I mean, Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, may end up looking great. or they may struggle, and that in the meantime keeps 2 other NFC teams out of the picture, right? I mean, like, you want to kind of strike when the iron's hot, for the 49ers, and it is right now. So I think that you just got to get it done. All right, next up here. Interesting news to come out of Seahawks training camp, where Gino Smith still has not been spotted. I am looking at Sam Howell and PJ Walker doing some drills right now, and I am not seeing Gino.
I believe Gino is out there, but he is not in pads. He's in sweats today.
Yes, if he's out there, he might be wearing. No, that's not him, is it? I don't know. I don't see him. If he is, he's wearing maybe casual clothing or something. He's hidden. I can't see him. It is the second missed day for Gino. Now, no one really batted too much of an eye yesterday because, A, people are really careful with starters when they're hurt anyways in training camp, and B, it was like a kind of like glorified walkthrough. Now, that sounds like a dig. It's not. It was an interesting approach to practice, but it wasn't a very intense practice, so it wasn't a big deal if someone was missing. This is a normal practice. This is a padded practice. If you're not out here, it's because you're nursing something. This is the hype train. Gino missing camp today for a second consecutive day is something to worry about.
I think if he misses tomorrow, then my worry meter goes off. But today, I'm going to let it slide. I'm not boarding. I think things are all right. I think they're just working out of an abundance of caution. You've got a capable backup in Sam Howell right now who can handle the first-team offense. So I am not boarding this train yet, Stacy. But ask me tomorrow at 1:39, and I might have a different answer for you if he's not out there.
I have spotted Gino. He is wearing his jersey, a cool, I can't tell if it's a throwback cap, sweats. He is talking with what looks like Ryan Grub on the sideline. Still learning, still building, still working forward, not practicing. He's wearing sweats, so I don't see anything on his knees or anything. No, I'm not worried. I think that it's just way too early to even worry about that. I mean, for goodness sakes, Justin Herbert is going to be in a walking boot for 2 weeks and still going to play week 1. So you have guys at this time of the year that have like minor surgeries and procedures and still get back out there. I think that what they're doing is just playing it extremely, extremely safe. Gino's also had a really solid camp so far. I would doubt he's going to play significant time in the preseason anyways. I think that now is a great time to exercise an abundance of caution, and that is exactly what they're doing. All right, get your questions in for What I Need to Know to the Mac and Jacks text line. Any question you have, send it now. 866-979-3776. It's coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Give everybody a few observations from what you've seen from a couple of padded practices. And you see Mike McDonald, he's out there saying, okay, this is a situation where we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and just the little details. And that's the thing I think that stood out to me, is that he's so detail-oriented. All the communication that's going on out there is really a good thing. And I'll bet you if you ask McDonald, he'd say, man, I'm way behind. I got so much to do. I'll bet you he's ahead of where most coaches are, just because his attention to detail.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Hey, Brock Heward here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Now, Shannon, I need to ask you if what I've been hearing is true. You don't need a referral, really, to see a physical therapist in the state of Washington?
That's exactly right, Brock. The state of Washington is a state that has what's called direct access. That means that if you get up in the morning, for example, and you hurt your back or did something to your muscles or tendons or joints, you can call a physical therapist directly, and we can get you in that same day and start your care and your recovery process.
How can patients get scheduled with IRG?
Oh, it's easy. You just contact us at irgpt.com. We'll direct you to our concierge service, and we'll take care of all that for you. We handle all the authorization, verification. We want our patients to understand their insurance benefits and what the outcomes are going to be with their visit to IRG Physical and Hand Therapy.
Please, please, please don't let injuries keep you from your passion. Schedule online today at irgpt.com and start the journey back to your best self.
Davis Law Group is proud to announce the return of the Life Support I-90 Charity Golf Tournament Friday, August 16th at Washington National Golf Course. Proceeds bring life-saving training and equipment to the first responders who serve travelers and residents on Snoqualmie and Blewett Pass every day. Sign up today at dlggolf.com.
Miller Lite has your chance to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Just log on to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot, where you can chat with Bigfoot, uncover tales of the Northwest, and enter to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Head to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot. No purchase necessary. Starts 4/9/2024, ends 8/30/2024. Residents of Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, 21+. Official rules at MillerLite.com/Bigfoot for free entry method, odds, and restrictions. Molson Coors Beverage Company, USA, LLC, 250 South Wacker Drive, Chicago, Illinois, USA, 60606.
Miss anything from the Brock and Salk Show? Remember, you can always catch the show on demand on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. This message brought to you by Ascend Hospitality Group, Famous Dave's, Ascend Prime, and Stanford's.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, if you're taking Viagra or any other pill for ED, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I want to continue to do this for the rest of my life? If you're like most men, the answer is no. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we can restore blood flow naturally without pumping your body full of chemicals like you've been doing. Guys, you need to come in today and fix this problem now. Why are you putting this off? Viagra's not going to magically start working next week, and you don't want to use shots or go under the knife. Call us today and speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today like the thousands of men who already have. If you're tired of dealing with ED or Peyronie's disease, then call West Coast Men's Health.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's What I Need to Know, brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Any question you have, text it now, 866-979-3776. What I Need to Know. Someone said, any question? How about this one? Can you buy your spouse a birthday gift on Temu? Quick disclaimer for anyone who doesn't know what Temu is. It's just an incredibly discounted site with stuff sent from overseas. It's like Shein, or it's like $2 for something.
I mean,
and they sell everything.
If they specifically ask for whatever it is that is being sold on Temu, then sure. But if it's a gift, you got to go quality over quantity, right? Like, you can't just buy somebody something that's going to break in a day.
Yeah, and that will not last. Let me tell you what, that will not last. Timu, much like my dreams of being an actress model, will not last. It'll be over soon. What I need to know, over under on Ken Walker with 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Ooh. I mean, you rarely see running backs these days surpass those yardage totals, right? I think last year's leading rusher was like 1,400 something.
I'm going to take the under, but it's not because I don't think you can see an improved year from Walker, nor because it's some kind of reflection on Ryan Grubb's offense. I know that there's maybe a preconceived notion that it might be pass heavy and not focus on the run. I think it's that you've got so many weapons that, like, you've got to incorporate Jackson Smith and Jigba in a way you didn't before. And ideally you incorporate Zach Charbonnet in a way you didn't before. You've got some tight ends you want to make sure you use. So I would say under, though I wouldn't be mad about over, but I'll take the under on that one. What about you, Curtis?
I'll go under. I think Ken Walker surpasses 1,000 yards. He'll get like 1,090 or something like that, and then he'll get 8 or 9 touchdowns. But that's not a bad year. That's a great year by any measure in terms of yards and touchdowns. I'll take that from him for sure.
What I need to know from the 253, should the Mariners make the playoffs? How do you guys feel about calling Emerson Hancock up for the pen to eat up long innings as needed?
He's not really a bullpen arm. He doesn't have the kind of stuff for the bullpen. If we're talking about potentially moving a starting pitcher to the bullpen in terms of like a playoff roster, you're looking at Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, I think, as the two arms that would be able to have their stuff translate well out of the bullpen. I don't think Emerson Hancock would be that guy.
What I need to know from the 206, what's the worst injury you've ever had? We were talking about injured players and injury updates earlier today.
Only one I've had that has resulted in surgery. That was tearing my Achilles just crossing the street outside of our work here. So that's the worst injury I've ever had. I've broken a couple of bones, but that's the only one that's resulted in surgery. Stacey, yours is your elbow, right?
Yeah, but what's weird is I've had other, like, little things that have hurt more, but the worst injury in terms of, like, damage would be dislocated my elbow. And it didn't hurt in the moment. I was in complete shock. I thought it was broken, but I didn't feel any pain whatsoever. And then when I went to do x-rays, it hurt. And then the next day it was awful.
Did they do the classic pull it to get it back in the socket?
So it snapped. It went back in the socket when they were trying to take an x-ray because they needed it to straighten more for an x-ray. And so they pushed it back in there. But again, I didn't feel like, I think I remember it being painful, but I'm telling you, it was not.
It was just adrenaline at that point.
Pure adrenaline, and mostly from embarrassment. Like, my lack of confidence and nerves being in front of a large group saved me a ton of pain, I think, because all I could think about is, oh my God, so embarrassing that I felt no pain whatsoever until later. What I need to know. How about this one? You can have any infinite amount of any liquid come out of 2 fingers. What do you choose?
Okay.
Diet Coke and sparkling water done. Okay, what's yours?
Mine, I think, is just like regular filtered water out of one. And then what's the second one? I'll say this. My girls drink a lot of milk, so if we want to save on money,
it's weird.
Milk coming out of my finger.
So sorry.
That's right.
It's really weird.
You want me to fill up your bowl of cereal? I got you.
Absolutely not. Under no circumstances do I want that.
If we're going fun, then maybe, like, I don't know.
No, I'm taking 3. It's going to be Diet Coke and White Claw or Diet Coke and LaCroix.
The thing is, if I picked like a soda or if I picked a adult beverage, it's like that's the one you're stuck with for life, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just swap out drinks.
We have 2 separate.
And I like to drink multiple different things. Like, I don't like to limit myself.
Now, we're limiting our minds because
Right.
we have two separate 253s telling us you guys obviously gasoline is an answer.
Oh.
Well, I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't
Okay,
thinking about like
wow.
actual
That-
liquids. I'm thinking drinks.
Yes. Gasoline and milk.
Imagine
Those are my
filling up
two.
your tank, just one finger hovering over.
Man.
It takes me 20 minutes, but it is worth it. What I need to know. Let's see. If you could win a gold medal in any Olympic sport, what would it be and why?
Well, I mean, there are certain Olympic sports that you're just guaranteed fame and riches after winning. Swimming,
Like
track,
gymnastics?
gymnastics, yeah.
I would pick gymnastics because I think it's just the coolest.
Yeah. I'll pick swimming. I think that would be fun to win. I'm not a great swimmer, but that would be one that you're pretty much guaranteed to like never pay for a meal again the rest of your life.
Another texture with a very good point. You don't want to sip off the gasoline finger on accident.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
But I think after enough times, you would remember which finger.
I don't
it
know. You
comes
have a little
out
too
of.
much from the White Claw finger or the vodka finger, and before you know it, you're drinking off the gasoline finger. I think it's going to be a little easier than you think to mess this up for yourself.
847 says they'd pick basketball because you're already rich and famous before.
True. If
entering
you're
the
on an
Olympics.
Olympic basketball
Yeah.
team, you are guaranteed a millionaire and incredibly famous.
I think that would be the one sport where everybody would stick out the most in terms of like, who's that random average looking guy with LeBron and KD and Steph Curry?
But imagine you're just a baller. Like
Yeah.
you go out there and they're like, I cannot believe this guy's the leading scorer, but man, he put up 40 points. This is wild.
Barely 6 feet tall.
I know. Just absolutely amazing. All right, you guys, that will do it for us today. Wyman and Bob coming your way next live from Seahawks training camp.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Final tally on the Mariners trades. In, Randy Arozarena, Jimmy Garcia, Justin Turner, JT Chargois. Out, Ryan Stanek, Jonathan Clase, 6 minor leaguers, Ty France. I was afraid that the Mariners were going to overpay. I think that's the good part. None of the big bats were moved. It's not just that the Mariners didn't get Vlad Guerrero Jr. You could argue they picked up the biggest bat that was moved in Randy Arozarena.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Last year's RV trip, we met a couple with the same bumper sticker. What are the odds?
Your cousin isn't a good storyteller.
He was a podiatrist, or was it a pharmacist? Huh, you don't say. Oh, I can't remember.
But she owns an RV protected by Progressive, and you don't. So until you get your own RV, her stories are the most interesting stories you've ever heard.
Wow, interesting.
And when you do get your own RV, save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive.
Oh, anesthesiologist. He was an anesthesiologist.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Whether you're a street motorcycle rider or even a trail rider, here's your chance to win one of 2 motorcycles. Visit ridefreepnw.com to enter. Eastside Harley-Davidson, Emerald City Harley-Davidson, and Law Tigers are giving away a Harley-Davidson Street Bob and a Touratech-equipped Pan American motorcycle. Explore the best of the Pacific Northwest on one of these bikes, street or trail. Take your pick and enter to win right now. Go to ridefreepnw.com and sign up today. The deadline for this giveaway is near, so enter now. Again, at ridefreepnw.com. And keep in mind, the Law Tigers know how important your motorcycle is to you, so if you've been in an accident, you know who to call. Call Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. They will get you the help that you need. Again, if you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or check them out online at lawtigers.com. The Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers, Mateer Law Firm, LLC.
High five. Up top. Heck yeah.
Dave's company just got the first ever 5-year price lock